But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
With the rockets or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
So you said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
Won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
Doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. I'm here with your co-host tonight, Ash, the reptilian from Mars. And we'd like to say hello to all of you who might also have troubled minds. What's up, guys? It is Wednesday night, and that means this show is live. We do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific, and we're live on the Fringe FM. We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and D-Live. We're reading all the chat, trying to keep up with you, because this is a conversation. What is this conversation about? That's right. It's about all the things we're not allowed to talk about, and you know what those things are. Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. This show is live. If you want to be part of the show at any point tonight, you can give us a call at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can also join the Discord. We've got a Discord running, which is a chat client. It's a voice client. It's fantastic stuff. Lots of conversation going on there pretty much 24 hours a day. And if you haven't joined that yet, you're missing out. Come meet lots of smart folks that are having a good conversation over there. But we are reading all the chat and doing all that, trying to keep up. So if you want to find the phone number and the Discord link, go to troubledminds.org. That's the official website. Everything is there. And let's tune in to Mars. Let's Earth to Mars. Earth to Mars. Ash, do you copy? Are you there, buddy?
Hello, humans. How are you guys doing tonight?
Looking good, feeling good, hopefully sounding good, and yeah. I hope it goes as well for you, my fine reptilian friend. We're going to talk about some weird stuff tonight, aren't we? Like usual, a little bit of the maybe juice again.
Yeah, and this isn't either one of our particular pockets, like our hot pockets of interest, but we like to try and to explore every left field, right? Every right field, every parking lot. We leave no stone unturned. Okay, and so if there's woo, we'll be there, and that's what we're gonna do tonight. We're gonna look at some weird stuff. we've kind of talked about it before in the past, but I don't know. Why don't you go ahead and do you got a good description for it? Or? Yeah,
kind of. All right. So what we're talking about tonight is there's a few things here. We talk about the existence of the soul. We talk about like Joe Roop on this network as well. He talks about consciousness quite a bit, and Ryan Gable and everybody else. Right. It's kind of part of what the Fringe is about, and a different line of thinking, as it were. And so tonight we're going to kind of chase down what some of these religions refer to as reincarnation. And that in particular has some interesting forks in the road if you kind of follow it down the rabbit hole, as it were. And that's what we're going to do tonight. And I think there may be some things that you hear from us that are hopefully you've never heard, because I had never heard of this stuff as we started looking into it. And I was a little surprised, to be perfectly honest, that there's a lot of information here that's it's not as woo as you might think. There's actually been some folks that have done some scientific work behind the scenes, and actually in the past, decades ago, looking into the reality of reincarnation and how we can try and prove it from a scientific view, kind of looking into the past, getting interviews from individuals, children in particular, that say they remember past lives and things like this. So we'll get to that. We'll get to some of those stories. We got some of those lined up to talk about tonight. But as always, right? And like I said, it's going to go down some weird roads. There'll be a few forks in the road. It's not just as simple as reincarnation. There's apparently some powerful entities involved, because this is like a karmic recycle. Okay, I guess that's probably a terrible way to put it, but that's really what we're looking at here is these souls being kind of sent through a recycling system and kind of coming back to really complete things that they need to work on. So yeah, I think that's probably the really poor description nutshell of this. But yeah, so I'll get into the actual definitions. But I know you were looking at this as well, Ash. Did you find anything tonight in particular? We don't have to get into it this second, but were you surprised by any of the information that you came across?
I was surprised by the narrative, which was somewhat consistent, that it kind of emerged, right? There's some mysteries to life and death, that religions and spiritual practices and doing drugs and all these kind of stuff. It's a mystery to life. And it's kind of like, I guess it's the one question, the very question that we all kind of care about the most. And it's, why are you here, right? What does it mean to be alive? And, looking around, there's this kind of narrative that that you come across, and there's a little bit more evidence that I don't think Mike or I had seen before, and so we're going to take a look at some of that stuff, and we're going to kind of correlate it with some other things that we've talked about in the past, and kind of plug two and one together, and maybe get some twos, right? So. We'll take a look at it, and as always, you guys should call in and tell us what you think about this. Show's for us to have a talk together, and we'd like to hear your experiences and see if this resonates with you, right? This kind of resonates with me. There's a sort of truth to it that you kind of know. So yeah, fascinating stuff. Like we said, we've kind of done stuff like this before, but not. This is some new stuff. I don't think we really there's some new stuff here to cover. So pretty exciting.
Yeah, good, definitely good. So again, as you know, we lean on you guys a lot as part of the show here, because it is a two-way conversation. So at any point tonight, if you want to be part of this, just give us a call one more time. I'm going to read the phone number as we go. I'll put it up on the stream if you guys are watching on D Live, Facebook, or YouTube. But the phone number is 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can also join us on Discord. Go to troubledminds.org is the official website. You got the phone number and the Discord there, and you can be part of that. All right, so now here's the weird part, right? Let's read this. This is from howstuffworks.com, right? And so this is how I usually do it, right? So I'll start with, when I'm looking into these things, I'll start with some of the most more basic type of explanations and kind of chase it down the rabbit hole from there, right? I kind of don't start at the bottom and come back up, because then you find yourself awfully confused. So I'm going to start with this. This website is called How Stuff Works, right? And it's actually reincarnation is the thing here. So here it is. Reincarnation, also called transmigration, or now I'm going to try to say this right, metempsychosis, METEM psychosis, metempsychosis, is the concept that the soul or some aspect of the soul is reborn into new lives. Depending on the religion or philosophy, the soul can appear incarnate in humans, animals, or plants as it works its way toward an eventual escape from the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Most religions believe in reincarnation, that believe in it consider it the path to purity and salvation. So, as always, like I said, I know there's a wide group of people out there that believe in all sorts of things, different religions, and all the rest of this. But I think part of the deal with this is that's important to me. Like your religious affiliation is not important at all to me. I do want to know, though, as we continue this conversation, do you believe in this stuff? Do you believe these things are possible? And really, that's what we do on this show. If you're tuning in to find some esoteric answers that are going to change your worldview, I'm sorry, we don't have that. I don't have insiders. The only insider I know is this dude that lives on Mars, and I'm not even sure he lives there, to be perfectly honest. I mean, if we're being real, right? I mean, hey.
Whoa! What are you trying to say, man?
I'm saying that my insider's a little sketchy. Is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'll stop.
Oh, that's valid.
Right? Okay.
No, that's very valid. I don't know who you're talking about, but yeah, I could definitely see that.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Okay, so then here we go. This continues, right, again from howstuffworks.com, the reincarnation bit. So reincarnation is widely accepted by the major Eastern religions, most prominently Hinduism and Buddhism. It also has a history in ancient Greek philosophy. However, for people more familiar with the major monotheistic religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, the idea of reincarnation seems foreign and maybe even a little bit strange. That's because Christianity, Judaism, and Islam conceive of time linearly. Life is simply a short step that determines the quality of an afterlife. For those who believe in only one life followed by an eternal afterlife, reincarnation is like an unwieldy marathon run by relay instead of a short, concise sprint. So I think that's actually really well written and pretty succinct for what we're looking at. And I think it kind of touches a few of the bases right off the bat. And, you know, as always, it comes down to what you believe. And don't forget, one of the major premise of this show is that we have the right to be wrong. Okay, you have the right to choose whatever it is you want to believe and be able to believe it. You know, I think you know, as we see the media landscape as it's happening, I think it's a little doubt there's a war on religious types, and I just don't think it's necessary. You know, that there seems to be this weird. I don't know. What would you say? Just a misunderstanding of what it means to be religious for people that aren't religious in particular. So it ends up again more of a division, like a divisionary tactic, right? And I just think it's unfortunate and unnecessary. But yeah, go ahead.
No, I see that a lot where a lot of the religions, especially in the Western worlds, kind of have rules and stuff, and these edge cases, these rules that have been kind of created over time are basically causing friction with like the progress, and doing air quotes. And I'm not taking a side. Okay, look, I don't want to take a side. I don't want to throw my ring in the hat on this fight. Okay, but on either side, but there's some friction there, and you know, in a world where anything's worth canceling, right? They're trying to cancel religions and this, and I do see that religions kind of have like this ethics, this moral code that people are supposed to, a higher power they're supposed to answer to, that's supposed to keep them in check, right? And as that kind of fades away, I just see a lot of lost people, you know, being kind of replaced with technology and stuff like that. Technology, and a lot of people are more into politics, you know, and it's kind of like it's getting a little sketch out here, and it may be a symptom, you know, and it's I don't think you need religion and like a book to tell you exactly what to do, right? You can kind of figure it out to yourself. That's my opinion. But man, it's hard. Life is hard. It's hard to figure out what you're supposed to be doing and what you're supposed to be doing wrong and right. And so, for all of these souls on this planet trying to figure stuff out all at the same time, it can be pretty pretty chaotic. And I think a lot of religions are kind of getting swept by the wayside and demonized and kind of like labeled old hat, and like the young people, they know better and whatever. And I think that's a mistake. I think regardless of whether you think they have something wrong or right, it's thousands of years of wisdom that we can draw from. And if we cast aside our history and our culture and all that stuff, it's, we're kind of asking for it.
Yeah, and it just like I said, this show is apolitical as possible, as agnostic as possible, meaning that we just don't care what you believe religiously, and hope you believe in something. I think believing in something is better than believing in nothing. So there you go. There's our soapbox moment for the evening. Until later, because I'm sure another one will come up. But okay.
Oh yeah, and we're gonna get calls for sure.
That's true.
We're gonna get calls. So I was trying to be pleasing to all sides. I was attempting my political moment, so I don't know if I tiptoed the line good enough, but yeah, there you go. So
are you running for Supreme Chancellor of Mars one day? Are you practicing?
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep my head down and play by the book as long as I can until I can literally just openly take over, and just rule with an iron fist. Start the death camps. Yeah, so
let me know when it's time to head out, because I'll go underground. All right, so that's what we're talking about tonight. And so, like I said, kind of looking into this a little bit, I was surprised to learn that this individual, this guy, this is from neardeath.com, near-death. All right, you gotta, with these weird hyphen things on the internet and whatnot, you gotta read the thing right. So anyway, this is where this comes from. Like I said, I always love to link my sources, so I will do that as we go, so you can find the information where it came from. But this is a little bit nutters, if you ask me. And this is one of the big things that surprised me about this, is that if you watch some of these weird shows, like. And I say weird affectionately. I don't mean it like weird. Weird to us is different. But you watch some of these shows on Discovery Channel or wherever it's going to be, you end up kind of seeing cases of what they say are reincarnation. Okay, and if they are. Well, there's some evidence to suggest it, right? And so I always figured, this is, I never really looked into it from those perspectives. I saw the things where, they talk to the little kid and he's got like a birthmark, and he says he had like a previous life, and that birthmark in and of itself was like where he got stabbed with a spear, and things like this. And then when he was reincarnated, that wound, his mortal wound, actually came back as in the form of a birthmark, because his soul remembered it somehow, like these types of things, right? And so I was a little bit surprised to be digging into this and find this guy's name. Now, his name is Dr. Ian Stevenson, and apparently this guy has done over 3,000 cases going back to the 60s, where he was tracking down cases like this, like actual children who said that they remembered their past lives. And so he spent all this time flying around the world and kind of taking notes on all these things and trying to verify. And in many cases, they were actually able to verify who the individual was that the child said that they'd actually passed away with. Okay, and so they were actually able to identify the actual individual of their past life from the recent past here. And so I'm like, what? Like, is this real? So I'm going to read this just so you guys know who we're talking about. Again, from near-death.com. There's a lot of work on this guy if you haven't read it out there. But Ian Stevenson is the guy's name. And here it goes. He was born 1918, passed away in 2007, was a psychiatrist who worked for the University of Virginia School of Medicine for 50 years. He was chair of the Department of Psychiatry from 1957 to 1967, the Carlson Professor of Psychiatry from 67 to 2001, and a research professor of psychiatry from 2002 until his death. He was also the founder and director of the University of Virginia's Division of Perceptual Studies. Now, this sounds very Ghostbusters. You guys seen Ghostbusters with Bill Murray and the parapsychology stuff? Well, his Division of Perceptual Studies investigated parapsychological phenomena such as reincarnation, near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, and altered states of consciousness. So, like I said, it seems like it seems like there's actually been some scientific work done on this, like I said, which surprised me. Many times, as we're aware, the media doesn't play kindly to woo-woo, to new age anything, to religious anything. And so, we're kind of left in this state of kind of media burnout where we just think everything, we're trying to be fooled by everything. But I don't know. It seems to me that this guy in particular was looking into this in earnest. He actually believed that this could be possible, and he did a lot of work that actually you see on some of these shows where they describe like the birthmark and things like this, right? So we've got some accounts that we'll read a little bit later on, specifically from his work. But did you get a chance to look into this guy at all, Ash, before we got started?
Yeah, it's interesting. This is a lot of parallels with the Dr. David Jacobs kind of thing where. They're using basically hypnosis and regressive therapy to peel back as much, I don't know, I guess, of the person's memories or of their soul. I'm not exactly familiar with the technique. I'm still kind of like trying to find some little hints of what he was doing specifically. But yeah, peeling it back and it mentioned here of trying to connect with that person with their soul and then kind of access their like soul memories and these experiences. And just like with the abduction thing, if you do enough people who don't know each other and you gather enough data, a narrative can start to form. You can start filling in the gaps, right? And it's a pretty interesting one of reincarnation, of another side, like a soul realm. And there's been lots of hints of this kind of thing before in a variety of ways. I've got a big list of examples, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's a cool thing. I never heard of that guy up until a couple days ago, and yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah, good stuff. So again, we're talking about reincarnation tonight, guys, and so I want to know what you think. We really want to include you as part of this conversation because they seem to staple these ideas into particular religious views. But to me, it seems like, just like Ash was kind of saying earlier, that there's a ton of religious wisdom throughout the past many thousands of years that I think if we ignore, we're doing ourselves a disservice. And I don't necessarily think that a particular religion, one way or the other, should be stapled into a particular belief. I mean, I realize it's part of the doctrine of the books and the canon and all that stuff, but then also there's got to be it's a wide universe after all, right? So looking to hear from you, what do you guys think? Do you have how about this? Maybe some of you out there can actually remember your past life. Maybe you can actually remember or know somebody in the family, or maybe you've looked into this and have some examples. But this is apparently, like I said, it's kind of widespread. I was reading in some cases statistics say that up to 20% of people in the United States right now believe in actual reincarnation. And so, that's a big number to me. That's a good thing. And even though this is not really a particularly Eastern religion type place, right? Where, like I said, they try and staple reincarnation into the Eastern religions. And I just don't think it's necessarily exactly that, right? So anyway, all right. So that's what we're doing tonight. We're talking about reincarnation. And like I said, if you think, whatever, don't go away, because like I said, this takes some bizarre turns as we started getting into this. Like I said, I was very surprised to find out exactly, like, not just that reincarnation might be a thing, but also that it becomes let's just say more woo than that. Even I think that a little bit weird. So here we go. We're gonna, like I said, we're taking your phone calls tonight. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Mike. This is Ash. We are talking about reincarnation tonight, and we want to hear from you. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And do you believe in this stuff? And do you think that, I know we're knuckleheads and we don't know a lot of the details many times, but we have you. You are our secret weapon, and I'm pretty sure some of you are going to call in tonight and teach us something about this. One more time, 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. I'm here with your co-host, Ash, the reptilian from Mars, and we're talking about reincarnation tonight. What do you believe? This show's live. If you want to be part of it, you can give us a call at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can find the phone number and the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and DLive. We are broadcasting this live on the Fringe FM. As always, what do you think? Is this too much woo for you? Or is this just the right amount? That's I guess we can call it the maybe juice, right? Welcome back to the maybe juice show. Welcome back, Earth to Mars. Are you there, Ash? Do you copy? 1212.
I'm here. Sorry, I had to fend off a Jeff Bezos attack up here on Mars. He's sending the drones out. It's pretty nuts up here.
You're good. Okay, so as we took a break, we were discussing this individual by the name of Dr. Ian Stevenson, okay? And he did a ton of work back all the way as early as 1957, all the way into the early 2000s, looking into reincarnation. And there's lots of stories here that, like I said, I think we're probably going to save the actual individual stories to the back half of the show because, as always, we'd rather hear what you guys have to say about this because we know many of these stories you've probably heard. Like I said, you've probably seen some of these strange shows out there. And I mean that affectionately. My last name is Strange after all. So it's okay. Like we know that you guys know a lot about this. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to this show. And so we want to know what you think. Phone numbers up. And So as part of this, again, so in 1982, Dr. Stevenson co-founded the Society for Scientific Exploration. He authored around 300 papers and 14 books on the subject of reincarnation. His 1966 book, 20 Cases Suggestive of Reincarnation, became a classic in the annals of reincarnation research. In 2003, Dr. Stevenson published his second book on reincarnation called European Cases of the Reincarnation Type. In 1997, he published his major classic, published his major classic, the 2,268-page, 2-volume book, Reincarnation and Biology, a contribution to the etiology and birthmarks and birth defects, which again is kind of exactly what we're talking about here, is that he was able to do some of this research and through interviews and kind of looking into the past, determine that some of these maybe birth defects or birthmarks and these types of things actually could be attached to the soul and show up in these reincarnated forms. We got a phone call coming in, but before we take that, anything else to add to that, Ash?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. He's got several books. He's got one here, Children Who Remember Previous Lives, where he conducted 2,500 case studies over a period of 40 years. And he published 12 books, including 20 cases suggestions of reincarnation. And he claims to have found over 3,000 examples of reincarnation, which he shared with the scientific community. So a lot of the times, what's interesting about this is that children have been kind of like the target, for gathering this data because they're still fresh, right? Like from the soul realm that we're talking about, and that they kind of remember their past lives, and as they get older, they forget, right? And so it's really interesting. There's lots of stories in there, lots of accounts, and so. This is a real professor, okay? This is not like some woo-woo doctor, okay? This is like very experienced psychologist. He's got degrees, and he's been a hypnotherapist for 50 years. So this is a legitimate story. It's actually very fascinating, and it definitely warrants some a little sip of the maybe juice. I mean, short of a video or an image. I mean, even if someone showed you a video or image, you wouldn't believe that, right? So, there's no way to fully convince anyone of anything, I would say. But this is pretty interesting, and it's definitely got some warrant to take a gander at.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think that's why we do it. That's why we do it in this format, to be able to talk to you. Again, you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And your call will go very much like this. Let's go to Robert. Robert from Facebook, you're on Troubled Minds with Mike and Ash. How are you, my friend?
Fine. How are you?
Doing very well. What do you think about this reincarnation stuff?
Okay. This is going to get a little deep. All right? For one thing, Christ said that reincarnation exists. All right? He said, in order to achieve the kingdom of heaven, you must be born again. Now, throughout thousands of years, it's been trying to make that you have to be in some kind of spiritual whatever. I'm a little nervous talking. I don't like to talk too much on the phone. But this whole idea that you got to be put under the water, to be cleansed, to be born again. He meant what he said. All right, and then when the Council of Nicaea gathered in 325 A.D., all right, they chose 66 books for the Bible. All right, the 14 they removed, some of those books were recognizing reincarnation. All right, and the church did not want people to believe in reincarnation, because then they would have little power over them, as far as
this lifetime
kind of control if they managed to. I'm sorry.
Power over this lifetime, because it would be diluted, because the soul's search is actually over multiple lifetimes. Kind of what you're saying, right?
Yeah, but the church did not was that's why they got rid of those books and didn't include them in the Bible, because they couldn't have their congregations believing that, because then they would have absolutely no power, because that would prove that you have a life after this life, that death is not the final. And so that's why they threw it out. And the idea that some religions, a couple of religions, believe in reincarnation is ridiculous. Most religions do. Most religions. The only religion really that does not deal with it is the Christian religion. All right, because if the Christ's teachings were usurped by these power-hungry bishops and popes. And I'm Catholic, so I'm not trying to run down Catholics, but that's what happened.
Yeah, it's interesting that we talk about censorship all the time. You're talking about the Council of Nicaea was sort of like an early version of this censorship, and they kind of trimmed down.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, trimmed down some of the things they didn't want us to know. Go ahead. The
reason they censored is because of that one thing, and that's reincarnation, that was in some of those 14 books that were removed. Right? The whole concept of reincarnation was that they were terrified by, because they could not. They knew that disputed the idea that when you die, you go into some kind of purgatory, or you go to hell, or you go to wherever. That death is final until the resurrection. All right, until the rapture. Although the Catholic Church never talked about rapture. I'm saying Christ. I don't understand how people, and I'm not a deeply religious person, all right, but I can't understand how people can read these red sentences in the New Testament, which is Christ is always in red, all right, and listen to his teachings and say, what did he mean by that? What did he mean by that? Oh, look, that's a parable. What could he mean by that? He was absolutely straight with people. He wasn't trying to play games with words. And when he said you must be born again, he was telling people you're going to live several lives. As a matter of fact, when you dream, if you go to bed and you dream all these weird things that happen during your sleep, it's because your soul is engaged with the various lives you're living now. All right, because all your lives are lived at once, because all time happens at once. So you may have a dream that that you were in the Revolutionary War. Well, you probably were. All right. You may dream of a number of strange things, abstract things in a night, but it's because you're visiting, you're exposing yourself to your life, and there is no such thing as previous lives because they all exist at once.
I see. So you do believe this is a thing, and that we do retain memories of the past life because they're intertwined with our soul currently, and so it is all the same life.
The reason we retain the memories of our past lives is that they're not past; they're happening simultaneously.
I see. All right, that makes sense.
They're
very much like the Akashic record,
and that's why we have this. So anyway. Do you have a question for me?
Yeah,
I've run out of things to say.
No problem. You said lots of fantastic things. So you do believe this is true, and so at least not as it's written.
There's no question.
No question. Okay.
No question in my mind.
Okay,
No question.
And then we're going to get to some other weird stuff. So I'd like your take on that. If you're not going to call back later, you're welcome to, of course. But in the chat, I'd love for you to kind of chime in because we haven't got to the really weird stuff yet. But we're going to get there. We're plowing along the reincarnation train to get to some really weird stuff that you guys probably haven't heard of. So I appreciate the call. Anything else?
That little boy with the birthmark.
Yeah.
Who remembered his previous life in a town down a few miles away. All right, he wasn't remembering the past. He was remembering a life that he still exists in. All right, all of our lives exist at once. All right, because there's no such thing as time. Time is a structure that we invent. To be able to navigate this 3D dimensional life. But time actually doesn't exist, and you're living all your lives at once. And that's why this idea of going to regression, past regression, to learn your previous lives, all that's happening there is that you're communicating with yourselves.
And as somebody's
at that time.
Yeah, that makes sense. And somebody's kind of helping you through that process to be able to somehow tune in.
To communicate with your current lives because you're living them all at once.
Right. Okay. All right, that makes sense, and I think there's some actual science that would back that up as well about time and slices and that whole bit where all of time exists in the same space. Robert, you were the best. I appreciate the call. Thank you very much, and look forward to talking to you soon. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, my man. Have a great night. That's Robert. He's been listening to the show for a very long time. Calls in occasionally. Always great stuff. What do you think about that, Ash? Oh, good stuff.
Yeah, good call. There's two things I really resonate with is that in the past we've had religions kind of tell the truth, right? Like the potential truth to what is the truth, the ultimate truth. And over time, like humans and our structures and our systems kind of corrupt these things, right, to gain control over them. And I believe that does happen, and you see that. The Bible has been rewritten a ton of times, and like King James threw a bunch of stuff out, and so the winners rewrite history, and so who knows what was originally there, and you kind of have to like read in between the lines for yourself to find the truth, Yeah, and that's fascinating. And then what was the other thing he said? Oh, living multiple lives. Yeah, like there's a lot of people on the planet. Are they just making a new soul, throwing a person on there, and then that's it, like a one and done? There's too many people, and so it would make sense that like people are reusing their souls and reincarnating, but also probably based on whatever this kind of soul stuff is and what it's possible, you could be living like a dozen lives here on Earth. I mean, I've met people who are just like other people. It's like really weird. Or like, have you ever met a kid and the kid just has a personality it comes from nowhere, or like an old soul? You know what I'm saying? Like just feel like just feel like we had nobody around had anything to do with that kid being the way he is. That's kind of how he was. and even brothers and sisters can be alike, but they can be so very different. And so, yeah, I think there's something here. I think there is a truth, and I think this is going to resonate with a lot of people calling in. And and as we move along, like Mike said, it gets a little weirder. And so this kind of thing, this reincarnation, shows up in a lot of religions, right? So he mentioned it used to be in Christianity or Catholicism. In the Law of One material, that's kind of like the Egyptian sort of stuff. Monks and the monks, like when their soul bodies and their rainbow bodies sleep, like this is a common thread in a lot of religions, and it's been popping up for a long time.
Exactly. And so we kind of started this segment talking about this doctor named Ian Stevenson that as far back as 1957, he was doing actual scholarly work and shared this with the scientific community. And of course, right, when you're talking about paranormal stuff, people just laugh you off the land or whatever's going on here. So, I can only imagine the guff this guy took for asking these questions, but somebody's got to do it, right? I mean, that's what science is about. And it's not just, to kind of crap on ourselves. We read this stuff on the internet. We're standing on the shoulders of giants in many cases. And it's not that we're just not as amazing as these people. That's what I'm saying. And again, Dr. Ian Stevenson was one of them. Now here's some interesting things that we were talking about, and this is exactly from the website again, near-death.com, and it's talking about Ian Stevenson. Now, during his original research into cases involving children's memories and past lives, Dr. Stevenson did note with interest the fact that these children frequently bore lasting birthmarks which supposedly related to their murder or the death they suffered in a previous life. Stevenson's research into birthmarks and congenital defects has such particular importance for the demonstration of reincarnation, since it furnishes objective and graphic proof of reincarnation superior to the often fragmentary memories and reports of the children and adults questioned, which, even if verified afterwards, cannot be assigned the same value in scientific terms. And I think that's, again, like I said, when we get into some of these stories, as we keep on trucking tonight, that's a little bit, I mean, you can verify these things, right? So first you talk to the kid, you interview the kids, that say they remember their past lives, and then they describe these things, and then they actually tell you how they passed away. And in many cases, he actually found that they had birth defects kind of matching their mortal wounds or birthmarks in the exact same places where these things happened. And right, I'm pretty sure, because that's not how science works and how you should conduct something like this, I'm pretty sure he didn't show up and go, "Oh, I noticed you have a large birthmark on your neck," and then seed the conversation and then let the kid run away with a fictional story. I just, I wasn't there clearly, but that's just not the way you do these things. But if it continues to come up, like we said earlier, Dr. Ian Stevenson, Ian Stevenson, I said that poorly, he actually had over 3,000 compelling cases, in his opinion, that suggest that this is real. The reincarnation phenomenon is real. So that's what we're talking about tonight. And again, we had a first great call from Robert. I appreciate that a lot. We want to know what you guys think about this. I think it's a great point Robert brought up about all of time space kind of being happening at the same time. And many scientists, astrophysicists, and folks like this have actually suggested that's the case, that time actually does not exist in the linear sense that we think of it as. It's just a construct created by our brain to kind of make sense of the life we live. So, I mean, very, very good stuff there. And yeah, maybe that's part of it, is that, like I kind of stated, the Akashic record is part of that. And I don't know a lot about it. And like I said, if you guys want to be part of the show, love to hear from you. Do you think reincarnation is possible? And if not, why? Or if so, what do you think about that? So here we go. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link, troubleminds.org. Anything to add on there, Ash? We got probably a couple minutes left before we got to take a break.
Yeah. Part of, we there's a lot of different sources I can kind of think of, and I'll mention a few of them later, but you guys have heard all this stuff in movies. Actually, the movie Soul, that movie just came out like a couple years ago, or like just a year ago, and the idea is that you go to Earth to have an experience to kind of gain your passion, and then you can kind of move on to the greater afterlife. And in that movie, there's a lot of parallels with the narrative that we're talking about, even down to like having soul guides, people that hang out and guide other souls, right? It's pretty gnarly. It's almost like to me, it felt like Disclosure, but like in a different direction, almost like watching that movie. When you, based on all these religions and stuff, when you come to this planet, you lose your memory, right, of who you were before, so you can live your life now. And so who knows how many lives, if this is true and you're listening right now, who knows how many lives you've lived, maybe you were a railroad worker at one point, or a wife on the in the old West, like it's crazy. This is a pretty nuts thing to think about and believe, but there's a lot of woo-woo evidence for it.
Yeah, and again, like I said, this Dr. Ian Stevenson guy. So if you never heard of him, I encourage you to look into it. Like I said, I'm going to keep sharing these links as we go because I want you guys to know exactly where this information came from. I'm not just making it up off the cuff to try and weave a good story here. You don't even have to. Like, all the good stories are already out there. You don't even have to really try that hard. It's just there. So that's what we do. And as you know, we love to include you. So thank you for the call, Robert, to get us going. But that's what we're talking about tonight. The topic is reincarnation. And this individual named Ian Stevenson that actually has done some work on this and thinks that there's 3,000 compelling cases, over 3,000 actually, that suggest that reincarnation is real. So I think given that, right, just kind of starting it before we even get into the really, really woo-woo stuff or some of the specifics about what's happening here with some of the research that Ian Stevenson did. We've got your stories. We've got what you guys believe about this. So as always, do your thing. Give us a call, troubleminds.org, and there we go. So, all right, as we get going and kind of rolling into this, after the top of the hour, we're going to get into the really weird stuff. This is when this conversation about reincarnation kind of goes off the rails. So if you're here listening to this and you're like, okay, yeah, I've heard this all before, the birthmarks and the kids and well, hold still. Well, hold tight just a minute, because we're going to get to some stuff that will probably blow your mind, because there's apparently some sort of celestial council that has
spirit wizards,
something to do with reincarnation. We're going to get to that after the break. But yeah, spirit wizards is probably the tongue-in-cheek way to put it. But yeah, there's actually something called the Council of Elders. So if you've never heard of that, well, like I said, don't go anywhere, because guess what? After the top of the hour and we take a quick break, we're going to start talking about what the Council of Elders actually is and what it means to reincarnation. You're listening to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. This is Ash the Reptilian from Mars. We're doing our thing. We're hanging out. We're talking to you. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Don't go anywhere. More fascinating conversation about reincarnation and the Council of Elders after the break. Be right back. Just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. I'm here with your co-host, Ash, the reptilian from Mars. And we like to say hello to all of you who might also have troubled minds. What's up, guys? It is Wednesday night, one of the nights we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific is when we start. And the things we're not allowed to talk about, you know what they are. Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the bizarre feeling that we live in the upside down. We are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and DLive. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And tonight we're talking about reincarnation. We've all heard the story of the youngsters that remember a past life and are able to describe in detail how they actually passed away. And in some cases, as we were talking about as we kind of came into the top of the hour here, is there's an individual by the name of Dr. Ian Stevenson, and he's verified that some of this could very well be real. And these mortal wounds that were suffered by youngsters actually corroborate the story with a birthmark on themselves in the current times. So there you go. That's what's on deck tonight. You got the phone number. I'm going to keep flashing and putting it up. Looking to hear from you guys. Welcome back to the show. Earth to Mars. Are you there, Ash?
I'm here, brother.
Right on.
Present,
and accounted for. We got a hot connection to Mars tonight. So what do you think about this? We're going to get into some really weird stuff regarding reincarnation. But if you had to put your money on it at this point, with the new things we learned about this, looking into it, do you think this is a possibility, or do you think we still drinking the maybe juice, a hefty dose at this point?
Oh, you're asking me. I thought you were asking the audience.
I'm asking you, buddy. I want to know.
Yeah. Hey, man. At the end of the day, nobody really knows. You know what I'm saying? You know, everyone can think they know or guess, but at the end of the day, you don't really know. So when you close your eyes for that last time, who knows what's going to happen? But you get a lot of stories, a lot of weirdness, and I'm going through and I'm reading some of these commonalities, this narrative that's emerging. It's really interesting, you know, where people pass away and there's stages. And I've heard these things before, so I don't know if you want to move the ball along, or you just want to generally talk about it. But yeah, I'm down. I'm sipping. I'm bathing in maybe juice at this point.
It's sat out a little bit too long, and your maybe juice is fermenting into probably juice. Got it. All right.
I'm licking it off Mars rocks. Just
perfect.
Before it evaporates away.
All right, so we're gonna get to the really out there stuff in just a sec. But before we do that, we have a phone call. Like I said, we are broadcasting live. So if you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can find the phone number and the Discord link at troubledminds.org. So let's go to this phone call, and then we'll keep on trucking here. Beechwood, you are on Troubled Minds with Mike and Ash. How are you, my friend?
Doing awesome, amazing. Wanted to call and talk about this. It's a tough one to put together because when you end up going off in so many different directions. But I'm going to go ahead and say reincarnation is possible and it's real in some way or form. But also, right at the beginning, there was just a book, a source. It's called The Disappearance of the Universe, and it's by a guy named Gary Renard. And it talks it's about a guy that was visited by ascended masters. And he was just really confused about, you know, life and what it was. And these ascended masters came and he wrote the book about it. And that book basically says that the universe only exists because your mind is here to exist, to perceive it, which is a theory that I've heard, and I think it's a good theory. Then there's, theories on creationism and religion. But we see with all creationism and religion is duality. Like there's a devil and there's a good side. And you can't have one without the other. There has to be some form of duality for that to work, for us to exist. And when you start to think of that, it makes you wonder if the universe really is only your mind. But this is a long topic. I have a few good points. I don't know. Hope I'm not rambling, but
no, you're good. You're good. So you
right,
definitely think it exists. It's possible. And continue. Go ahead. Go right ahead, sir.
All right. Well, I was just listening to the commercial, and Lord of the Rings was on your commercial with Gandalf. Now, that's a very, fairy tale story with things that nobody has seen exist on, this earth that we know of. But the guy talks about it in the book, and, he wrote The Hobbit in 1937. And I don't know, that's a long time ago. And you look through history in the lack of technology as you start to go back through history, yet all the mythical stuff still exists. And as we go further into the future, there's less mythical things and it's more geared towards technology. So that makes me, I have the theory that your imagination comes from all your past lives, because I'm pretty sure I'm reincarnated. I know I am. But with duality, with reincarnation, is it reincarnation or is it damnation? So if you're religious, it could be damnation, and that's all depends on how you perceive it. And when I went through my experience in the mental institution, I was in the hospital, and it was one of the few times like I felt real, like it was a weird fear that I woke up and I said, we are dead. Like maybe we are actually dead. This isn't the good life. And we forgot. We woke up in either hell or heaven, or we're in limbo, or maybe none of it's real, the Matrix. So all those things go, through your head. But there doesn't seem a reason for them to be here that, this natural earth would present if something like that wasn't true in the past. And I want to know why we're conditioned to do that and think like that. If it's, just boredom or entertainment. But I find that really cool. And then, all right, let's see. I kind of lost my train of thought, but
that's okay. You got me, man. You got me. Any comment on that, Ash? Well, we got Beechwood collecting his thoughts.
No, Beechwood, I empathize with you. It's kind of the same for us. You take a peep into this kind of subject, and then all of a sudden you're in left, right field, all over the place. It's hard to kind of to focus on the exact single point of the thing. It's tough, especially with a topic like this, right? That's kind of out there. You said there's some interesting things that consciousness is the primary, potentially consciousness, and this is kind of like scientists are finding this out, that consciousness is real, and that this world, like this is bullcrap. Like this is like the not real. This consciousness is kind of the master, and the world that we reside in is kind of like is the fake, the simulation or whatever. And some people think maybe this world is kind of like hell. Like you said, maybe it's death, right? Maybe it's hell. Because you have to consume to survive. There's a lot of suffering here, and you got to overcome it. And so it's kind of like built to kind of like as a gauntlet to some degree. And I really loved what you said about fairy tale stories with Lord of the Rings and how he did a bunch of research. We're going to be talking about spirit wizards in a second here, and a lot of that stuff resonates. You've heard of DMT and the elves, the DMT elves, and there's a lot of the fairies and all that kind of stuff. There's something kind of there, and maybe that exists in the spirit realm. So good comments. Good stuff.
It does, and also, DMT, your body can produce it naturally, and it's better than anything you're going to find in nature. But they doing a lot of natural things.
Yeah, and that's like when you dream, you produce DMT, and actually, it's funny. All animals do, right? And so there's the whole, the Black Panther movie where the spiritual panthers, and they think that panthers used to eat like DMT flowers, get high as AF, and then they would like go to the spirit realm, and then people would also do DMT, or in their dreams they would see these panthers, and you're literally seeing like high panthers like cruising the spirit realm. So anyway, I thought that was an interesting story.
Never heard that.
It's like a theory. Yeah. So anyway,
speaking of movies, that brought up another good a point I was going to mention, because it's a movie reference, but the movie Avatar, the James Cameron, that's not quite reincarnation, but if you could just have continuous avatars, you could reincarnate yourself. But there's a scene in that movie with Sigourney Weaver when they're down taking experiments, and she takes her little tool and she sticks it into the tree, and she looks at him and she shows him and she tells him what it means, and he doesn't know what it means. He's dumb. And she has this shocked look on her face, and she says, "It has more connections than the human brain." So if that was possible, that would mean that the universe is here and consciousness is maybe second, or you could go back and forth.
Yeah, it's there's actually a thing called panpsychism that postulates that every single thing in the universe is conscious, and that would be the rocks and the trees and everything, right? Even inanimate objects, and that would kind of describe it as more connections than the human brain, but we're talking about on a universal scale. Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff to think about. Like I said, it is a wide world out there, and like the possibilities are endless when you kind of put your mind to it. And again, like physics and all the rest of this stuff, we haven't even cracked the first shell of that. We're still barely dabbling in that as people. So lots of stuff to look forward to. Hopefully, we get to some really, really hot stuff soon, and we're all zipping around and Bob Lazar type sport craft soon. But you're the best, Beechwood. Anything else while we got you on the phone?
No, that's about it. But that with this topic, like with putting the science into it, that's how broad you can reach out. It's like the universe. You go any direction, like any rabbit hole you want to go down. And there's a possibility that every single thought that you can think of is real somewhere. The universe is big enough to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
right.
somewhere. But, yes, that's all. I just wanted to call, say hi, and thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it, my man. Thank you for the call. Thanks for listening, and thanks for participating. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Yeah, tune in for the next segment, man. You're gonna love it. I think you're gonna like this.
Yeah, we're going straight off the rails as soon as you're off the phone. Thanks, Beechwood. Have a great day.
Beautiful.
Thanks, man. Thanks. That's Beechwood from Massachusetts, and as the Night Stalker says, yeah, we what do you say? He said we got Reincarnation, Boston represent. There you go. Exactly right. All right, so let's go. Exactly. Let's go. All right, we are going off the rails, directly off the rails. So we're talking about reincarnation. We're talking about this individual named Dr. Ian Stevenson. All right, so that's in the past. That's in the rearview mirror, and there's some compelling evidence to suggest reincarnation is real. What about this next thing, Ash? You want to lead this one?
Yeah, so we were poking around on the internet here, and we were exploring, and there's one specific thing that kind of got us into this whole topic, and I don't know, I've never heard it before. So your soul, and I'm still reading from this blog article. You die, then you enter a healing phase. You're losing your memories, and then you go through what is called a past life review. But you don't do this alone. No. You don't review your whole life by yourself. You have to go and seek the wizards, the Council of Elders. Now, this spiritual council of elders has been talked about through a lot of regressions, and it's come up a lot of these people doing these soul regressions, where there's these sometimes bearded, sometimes bald, but kind of always wearing like robes, kind of like wizards of this council. And this council reviews your life with you, and it's not supposed to be a judgment thing. It's supposed to be a review with you as your soul to kind of help you interpret your life and your mistakes and what you can kind of do better. And that you're on this repeated cycle, and that according to this, we've all met these guys, and that if you serve and you get high enough, you can serve on you yourself. Maybe are one of these elders just taking a stroll into the real world. But it's pretty gnarly stuff. I've never heard of it before. We kind of peeled it back. So, we can get into it, get into some more specific stuff about it. But I thought that was pretty interesting. Spirit wizards. I think that's cool. And honestly, it's like, it sounds good. Sounds better than going to hell and burning for all eternity,
Yeah. For anything permanent sounds bad. Just standing here for too long, my knee starts to hurt, so I can only imagine. But okay,
with no shirt on.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've got a shirt back on, so stop breathing heavy out there. Okay, I got a shirt back on. All right. Okay. Everybody can exhale. All right. So here's the thing. Now here's a little bit of weirdness regarding this. So the individual we started talking about was Dr. Ian Stevenson. Okay, and he was the guy that did the work with over 3,000 compelling cases to scientifically say that, look, reincarnation might actually be a thing. Okay, but then we have this other individual. His name is Dr. Michael Newton. Dr. Michael Newton, and he's done a ton of this as well. And this is where it really gets into the maybe juice here, because he's saying that he's able to actually have consultations with people, and actually I think he's passed away now. I'll verify that. But so he started this thing called the Newton Institute, and I linked it, and you guys can check it out. Again, I'm not selling anything. I'm not saying to go talk to the guy or any of this stuff, but I am saying these are the claims that he's making. He's saying exactly like Ash described, is that as part of this reincarnation process, there's like this kind of intermediate in-between life sort of review. And it is, what would you say, the spirit wizards? But they are known as the Council of Elders. And people have said it's possible for you to be able to channel these individuals and make contact with them in the real world, right? And so they say that they are not, as Ash said, they're not judgmental. It's not a board of directors that's going to demote you to the basement sort of thing, right? It's not like that, red swing line stapler. You're in the back corner of the desk, nothing like that. It's more like a spiritual guidepost to help you really look at the entire scope of all of your lives, past, present, and future, and then they're kind of like a guidepost or a sounding board to maybe point you in the correct direction for your next batch of lives, right? And so, like I said, this space wizards, we get super weird here, right? We get super weird with this, and I'm not exactly sure. I don't know what to think. Reincarnation's probably deep enough for me. I'm like, okay, cool. This guy did a bunch of work, and there's a bunch of compelling stuff. All right, I'm sold enough. Give me a shot of the maybe juice, and I'm in. But then we get space wizards. We get this guardians and watchers from the Discord there. Night Stalker put the watchers from the DC and the Marvel universe, that maybe this is what we're looking at. But anything to add to that? I think that describes it pretty well. But there's a whole bunch of different stuff on this, and people are said to channel them in real time, in real life, and be able to actually discuss them. Yeah, I got that. Gotcha. 57 seconds. Okay, so I got this video I'm going to play, but go ahead and set this up, Ash. Talk about this dude, open your reality guy, and then I'll set this up. 57 seconds into this video. Go ahead, sir.
Great. Yeah. So I keep tabs on all the woo. I'm part of probably 100 crazy groups, and I see all kinds of nutty stuff, and I don't know how I came across this guy. This guy's YouTube channel is called Open Your Reality, so we definitely want to give a shout out because he put us on to this, and we're gonna listen to this guy talk about the Council of Elders and who are they. So we'll drop a link in the chat. Take a look at this. We always give credit where it's due. It's a really interesting thing. I have a massive ADD these days, and it's hard to keep my attention. I was Council of Elders. That got me. So let's listen to them explain some of it, and we can talk about it some more.
All right, here we go. I linked it in the chat. Here we go. Action.
In any regard, I want to talk about the Council of Elders, because in my last few videos, I mentioned that I would be making a video on them. Now, this comes from Destiny of Souls, which is a book written by Dr. Michael Newton. Now, Dr. Newton didn't make up the Council of Elders. He discovered them through many testimonials of his clients who he put under hypnosis. And a lot of them talked about this vaulted council of elders, these ascended masters, these great spiritual beings that reside in the spirit world, which most people would consider our natural home, the spirit world. Earth is a place that we come to learn. It's a harsh place, but it's one which is necessary for our soul growth. Now, a soul can choose not to reincarnate here, but at the peril of their own soul growth. Now, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about the Council of Elders. I'm maybe not going to get everything into this video because the chapter is absolutely packed with tons of information on them. So what we know about the Council is that most of them look like exalted beings. Some of them are bald like myself. Some of them have white hair, beards. Almost all of Dr. Newton's clients talked about them dressed in robes, maybe similar to judges here, or tunics. And the robes were actually different colors, and I believe that the colors signified different abilities or levels of experience for the Council of Elders.
Okay, so I'll kill it there. We'll hear a little bit more of that when we come back. But interesting, look how he describes them. He's describing them very much like Lord of the Rings, like Gandalf the Grey, like Radagast the Brown, right? Like Saruman the White. It is interesting that it seems to be maybe Tolkien was channeling when he wrote those books. And yeah, so we have that little Lord of the Rings clip every night, but I think it's a little more fitting tonight with Spirit Wizards. Got about a minute left. Let's wrap this up. Ashton, that's one final segment.
Yeah, so pretty interesting topic. Resonates, and it's cool. It's interesting, and we're going to get into a little bit more. There's some interesting stuff. People have called in, and they've kind of hinted at this. So there's a little bit more to this. We're going to wrap it up, put a nice little bow on it. So what do you guys think? I see a lot of great comments, a lot of people talking about this, excited about this topic. I think it's fascinating. I think it's the question for us to know. And yeah, please call in, share your stories. What do you guys think? Do you think this is some more fantasy, or do you think maybe this might be true?
Maybe. The maybe juice. That's what we're drinking. That's what we're sipping. Tonight we're talking about reincarnation and the Council of Elders. What the heck does all this mean? Do you guys believe this? Do you not? We're looking to hear from you tonight. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Give us a call. More reincarnation and crazy stuff after the break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. I'm here with your co-host, Ash, the reptilian from Mars. Tonight, we're talking about reincarnation, the Council of Elders, and what the hell is all this? Is this real? Is this fiction? Is this some sort of a cosmic conspiracy, let's say? I have no idea. Looking to hear from you. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and DLive, broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And you want to be part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And if you want to be part of the show without using the long distance, that's a 702 area code. Of course, Las Vegas, that's where we're streaming from. If you want to be on the show with Discord, we have that running as well. Go to troubledminds.org, click the Discord link. Phone number is also on the top of the website, so you don't have to remember it. Just remember one thing, troubledminds.org. It has everything you need, all the social media links, the podcast stuff. It's got the phone number, and it's got the Discord link. Don't mind all the dead links. That's just that's another cosmic conspiracy. We're still working on that. Welcome back to the show, Ash, the reptilian, Earth to Mars. Are you there, buddy?
I am present.
Right
I'm
on.
here,
Right
ready
on.
to go. We're
So-
ready to talk about spirit wizards.
Okay, so let's get back to those spirit wizards now. Interesting parallel, right? So we have these, the Council of Elders, they're called, as we're told, okay? And so they're somehow like spiritual guides. And it's not judgment, it's not burn in hell, it's not purgatory, it's not something like this. It's a way to get if you believe in the transcendent spirit that goes from through many lifetimes and then eventually escapes the cycle, that's what actual reincarnation's about. But then there's supposedly, as you call them, these spirit wizards, and Gandalf or Radagast or Saruman the White, right, from Lord of the Rings, oddly enough, different colored robes and long white beards and things like this, that help this council of elders supposedly help guide the wayward spirits to their freedom, to their everlasting end of the journey, right? I was going to go a little deeper and get into some really weird stuff like the Egyptian Book of the Dead and stuff and try and link it that way, but I don't know. I think we got enough of a handful and a mouthful with this right here, so probably wasn't necessary, but I think there's probably some connections with that. But yeah, so what else about this these spirit wizards do you think we need to know?
Yeah, so that last comment is like, yeah, we can go off and connect all these things. Like I said, the DMT. There's with the wizards, you actually go through a tunnel right before you meet the council, and it's very similar to a kind of a DMT experience. We kind of go through a tunnel, and we'll talk about this a little bit later in the show in the third hour. But the remote viewers kind of see some of the same things, not quite wizards. But a reincarnation cycle, and that's that Farsight Institute I talk about. But yeah, so it looks as if there's some great comments. I took some notes. The Council of Ricks. I love the nerd joke. I love it. Council of Ricks. That'd be terrible. If like the Onipian wizards of the universe that are supposed to guide you are like literally bickering like the Council of Ricks. So I don't think it's quite that. Some other good comments said, maybe we're all on a ship and we're in cyberspace, and we're all going to wake up one day. But think about that, is that maybe we're all supposed to experience all these lives and graduate, and then you go on unconscious, and maybe you're under there for, I don't know, a few months, but you come out living all these lives. You come out a very wise person, and maybe that's a requirement for society. And there's that old folktale story where we're all the same being, we're all the same consciousness, living all the lives. So that's some deep, crazy stuff to think about. That'll you kick back some Mary Jane and you think about this stuff, and it can kind of take you, But back with this stuff, specifically, this guy mentions that there's 7 kind of phases, and I'll go over that, and then we can watch a little more. How does that sound?
Perfect. Let's do it.
Okay, so the first one is death, right? Hold on, let me pull it up. Death, and this is like where you see the light, and subjects see themselves. Sometimes they're kind of out of body experience, and and they kind of decide whether or not they're going to move on. There's a lot of stories where people decide they want to stay when they recover, right, from like these traumatic injuries. So the first stage is death. The second is healing. This is the stage where the soul sheds its regret, its traumatic memories. Describe a shower of light, of like relief from the burdens of life. Like, oh God, I don't have to pay bills anymore and stuff like that. And there's a lot of stress to being here. So that's the second phase. The third is the past life review. And it's a review. This is like, he's going to talk about this a little bit, but we're here to grow. It's not like, you were a bad boy and then you get like, the elders like put you over their knee and they spank you. Okay. No, maybe that's what you want. I don't know what kind of person you are, but yeah, this is kind of a review of your life and what you could have done better. And some people move forward, some people take steps back, and it's all about your soul and progression. There's a reunion with your like soul homies and like people brothers, sisters, people who are kind of in the spirit world, and we hear about that all the time where people see like their loved relatives. There's a life selection process, so you're ready to go back, kind of like the movie Soul, and you kind of decide where you want to go, and there's a little bit more here, and we can kind of get into this in the third act. I'm actually going to save some of this for the third act. I think that's pretty insane, some of this stuff I'm reading right now.
Okay. I haven't seen the movie The Soul, so can you give a brief synopsis of that without any spoilers, so knuckleheads like me can know what you're talking about?
A character dies. He goes to the great beyond, and he's supposed to like move on, but he steals and goes back to Earth to live another life from some other soul. And basically the idea is you go there and you keep reincarnating, and you have spirit guides, and going to Earth is like a special thing where you kind of learn about yourself and what you are, and then you move on to the great beyond after you are satisfied with your reincarnations, something like that. So pretty spot on, right? To what we're talking about here, which is kind of crazy. So this says, like, when you're picking your life, some souls, you can kind of see, you can kind of fast forward, like what this life is going to be, and sometimes you're like, you know what, give me the crappy life, give me the crappy one, or or like you kind of like you take on a burden for yourself, or maybe you want an easy ride, but really interesting. And there's like ways to grow, and there's kind of almost like a religion in this, right? Preparation. You get ready. You go through your soul guides and higher level guides, and you kind of get ready. You meditate, and then you return to Earth, and you kind of forget everything, and that's it. And it's crazy because when you die, the remote viewers saw this too, where people would reincarnate, and they gradually kind of lose their memories, their trauma from their life, and they have to kind of heal. And sometimes when souls are really messed up, the helpers have to come and kind of like help them heal, like help with them, right? So I hear this in a lot of different places, so this is really interesting. So, and again, this is Michael Newton, PhD, and this is from his book Journey of Souls, a case study of life between lives. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so that's the other guy. So we got two guys we're talking about tonight, and the first dude, again, he was Dr. Ian Stevenson, and then the next guy is Dr. Michael Newton. Ian Stevenson, now he's the guy who actually did some work on actual reincarnation and trying to do scientific experiments and figure out if it's real or not. And this other guy, Dr. Michael Newton, he's actually the individual that is really putting forward this idea of these spirit wizards, right? The Council of Elders, as they're called, which supposedly keep a spirit in line. And it's not just, like we talk about in a linear fashion with religion and, one life and here's your shot and, eternal damnation if you blow it, or eternal salvation if you get it right. It's not like that. In this world view, this universal view, it means that our soul continues to progress after death and is even reborn and kind of recycled into the situation with the help of these elders, the Council of Elders. Actually, like I said, that this is really the idea that got us onto this, because reincarnation in and of itself, it's like some people believe it, some people don't, right? And so you're like, I don't know, is it a good thing to talk about? Maybe, right? But maybe not. But then we found the Council of Elders, and we were like, oh, hell yeah, we're talking about this now. Because, right, it definitely adds an interesting layer to this. So let's go back to that video. Now, this is the individual that's got a YouTube channel, and the channel is called Open Your Reality. I'll link it as usual. But we heard the first part where he was describing the Council of Elders. So let's play another minute or two with this, and then we'll wind this up with the final segment. And we are still taking your phone calls. We got time for you if you want to be part of the show. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Troubledminds.org. That's the only thing you need to remember. The Discord link is there. The phone number is there. And you can be part of the show that way. Here we go. Let's go back to this guy. Open Your Reality, his YouTube channel, and this is what we're talking about. The Council of Elders. He's explaining what it is and action.
Council of Elders, also known as the Wise Ones, or the Older Ones, or the Venerable Beings, or the Sacred Masters. These are the people, or I should say, these are the beings who we see after we finish an incarnation, and sometimes right before we start another incarnation. And these beings are not perfect. Nobody is perfect and done, according to Tom Campbell, and even to some of the souls that Dr. Newton interviewed, or I should say, put under hypnosis. Now, the Council of Elders is the most advanced spiritual beings that souls will encounter in the spirit world. Souls are aware of a higher presence, but mostly as a form of light. And souls really don't know much about it. It's interesting, but Dr. Newton had a level 5 soul who he said was his most advanced patient. And this soul got closer to understanding the presence than any other soul he had ever put under hypnosis. And this soul said it was almost like it wasn't God, it wasn't the supreme power, but it was like a collection of many consciousnesses into one. And this was a purple light from above. Everyone in the spirit world could feel it, but it never really communicated with souls. It just gave off this feeling of love and peace and serenity. And this light was also present during the time of the soul's meetings with the Council of Elders. So let me just explain. After somebody dies, and there's
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. It's a little dense, right? The stuff he's talking about. So we'll get back to this in just a sec. After somebody dies, we'll continue with that. But anything you want to chip in there, Ash, real quick before we get back to this video here?
He did. He said so. He was talking about the advanced soul, and that there was like a god or something above that everyone kind of is familiar with, but not really. They don't really truly understand it. And that the guess from that more advanced soul was that it was a collective of consciousnesses, and maybe that's okay. So there's a law of one material where we basically are one being that like fractured. I think it's law of one. Well, anyway, it's very common in the new woo-woo circles, right? That we were one being and we fractured into many, so we can experience ourselves, and that according to all this, if you merge it all together, is that we're going through recycles, relives, we're upgrading our soul, and we're trying to like get to a level and then potentially rejoin the consciousness, the one being. And this comes up in alien stuff too, like the alien abductions, aliens talking to humans. This comes up a lot where more benevolent alien beings talk about this with their people. So this is a common trend. This is a narrative. This is something that people can subscribe to that I believe has a lot of validity. I mean, you can believe other things, and I think that's valid too. There's lots of paths to like what you believe. So, but this is an interesting one. There's some information. It pops up in religions in a lot of different ways. So anyway, pretty gnarly, right? That we're like all reincarnating, we're leveling up, and then eventually we can kind of like go to the next level and potentially rejoin ourselves, the greater being. So nutso stuff. I could see this being true.
And I'm with you. Like I said, you had me with the maybe juice at the first part of this. Now the second part, I'm not so sure about the Council of Elders. If anybody has any takes on this, I'd love to hear from you again. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Robert has a great comment here on Facebook. I want to read and squeeze this in. He says, the author of that book was not communicating with some god. He was communicating with himself, his oversoul. And that's a fantastic, he was actually referring to Matt, who asked if anybody read the books, The Celestine Prophecy. So interesting stuff. Good comments there in the chat as always, guys. And let's go. Let's finish this up with a little bit more from this guy. This is, again, an individual got a YouTube channel called Open Your Reality, and he's talking about the Council of Elders. So he was just about to say, when you die, this happens. So let's go right back to it.
After somebody dies and their soul goes back, when I say goes back, if you listen to Tom Campbell, he'll tell you it doesn't really go anywhere. But the awareness of that soul happens to go to the spirit world after you finish your earthly life here. And usually you'll meet up with your spirit guide. Now these spirit guides know you very well. They've been with you from lifetime to lifetime, depending on how many you've had. And they welcome you back, they provide energy, and they help with the integration into the spirit world. Because at first, after a soul reaches the spirit world, soon after an incarnation is completed, the physical imprints of that life are still left on the soul, and it takes a while for those physical imprints to leave the soul. So one of the
Interesting. So here what he said there is that it's not like an instantaneous once you pass on and become part of this world of souls, the soul world, for lack of a better term, there is that he says that the council of elders are actually there to help you integrate. Because you're going to have still some trauma from your life. There's still going to be some things that you have to shake off to kind of realize that it's not just one journey, it's multiple journeys. And that they kind of condition you to be able to be ready to go back and take on the challenge yet again. Good stuff, man. I mean, this is like comic book style stuff, right? Like Night Stalker was linking there in the chat. There's a ton of really good stuff here that in fiction and back to Tolkien and all these other things that even Lovecraft. I mean, there's an unbelievable amount of things that kind of really tie into this idea of this council of elders and this reincarnation and this whole journey. Crazy stuff, huh?
Yeah, and the common platform for all of these things is that there's another realm. There's like a spirit realm where all these different kinds of things can exist. And we talked about people do DMT, they do drugs, they have psychedelic experiences, and they see more. And this is something that humans have been doing for a long time, where they have these experiences and they kind of poke into this realm. And so, sometimes they see bad things, good things, and who knows, man? Joe Rogan said, and I'll quote Joe Rogan, "It's more real there than it is here," and that sentence has always kind of stuck with me. And there's I see a lot of people in the chat, they're like, oh, I remember this. Yep, definitely. And there's stories where there's a lot of stories where I remember these twins, they got hit by a car when they were really young little girls, and then the parents end up having twins again, and those twins retained memories from when they got hit by a car. They even knew what their toys were. There was a story of a blind woman who was she was blind all her life, and she died in the operating table, and she was hovering above her body, and she could see what everyone was wearing for the first time. She saw using her soul eyes, I guess, and she was able to describe everyone in the room. So there's a lot of crazy stuff out there, and like you said, there's like this fabric that holds it all together, that there's kind of more than we think. Science doesn't quite get it yet. And behind that door could be anything. Literally could be anything. The Demogorgon could be there, He's waiting.
Yeah.
The Demogorgon.
That's a whole nother show, bro. That's a whole nother show. We're going to have to get into that at some other point. Get into the Stranger Things upside down and the Demogorgon. But I mean, and there's so many actual kind of crisscrosses with the different ideas of this. Reincarnation is one thing, right? The idea of a soul. I think the idea of a soul is not really that revolutionary anymore. I mean, you can probably get like the really staunch skeptics that are like, nope, we're just electrical impulses, and when we die, that's it. We turn into a pound of rubbish on the ground and the ants eat us. It's like, okay, well, yeah, maybe, but maybe not also. Maybe not. As I said in the beginning of this, is that it's a little bit unfortunate now that religions have come under fire. They're under attack, and it's sadly in the past the religions were attacking each other, and now they're continuing to do that. But then they're under attack by the non-religious. And who knows? Maybe that's just a media concoction. Maybe that's not the case, but it sure as hell seems like it to me. And like I said, doing this show and realizing that we do have the right to be wrong, I think it's something worth talking about. This whole thing is worth thinking about. It's worth talking about, and maybe kind of getting outside of your comfort zone and realizing that the universe is a wide place, and that's why we do it. So, you got about a minute, Ash. Let's wrap this up for the final segment here on Fringe.
Yeah. So, thanks everyone for listening to us on the Fringe Radio. It's really exciting to even be on the radio. It's cool, and it's exciting to come here and talk to you guys about soul wizards, and this kind of these, no one else is, I mean, the people are having these conversations, but we can have these conversations here, and we can talk about these things and the mysteries of the world, the universe, aliens, all kinds of stuff. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you everyone for calling. We appreciate you. And what do you think? Go home, think about it. Go to bed. Maybe in your dreams tonight, you'll meet Spirit Gandalf, and maybe he'll give you some wisdom. So this is Ash the Reptilian from Mars. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I think I'm going to do an episode on this kind of stuff. Try and bring it together. And it's a pleasure being here. And thank you for listening.
Thanks for co-hosting tonight, Ash. All right, so this is the end. This is where we finish this show up, guys. And as you know, this is not the answer show. We're not trying to twist your arm and make you believe all these ridiculous things. But I would appreciate it very much if you do think about it. If you do consider maybe stepping outside that comfort zone and considering things outside of your worldview. It's sometimes it will open up things within your worldview that you kind of always knew were there and never really kind of tickled them to make them come out. So appreciate you guys listening. Thanks for hanging out. As you know, this has been Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. I'm here with Ash the Reptilian from Mars. Stay tuned. If you're listening to The Fringe FM, stay tuned for Joe Roop Lighting the Void. If you dig this show, share it. Let people know, hey, there's a conversation going on out there where people can actually get together and talk about things, and at the end of it, not hate each other, right? I mean, that's the goal. It's, just the politics and all the media and the garbage that they try and feed us all day, every day, 24-hour news cycle full of trash. I think it's good to have a spot here. And thanks to Joe Roop for allowing us to be on the Fringe FM, inviting us into this family, because we've met a lot of fantastic people here. And we're growing. Every day's growing. Every day's getting better. Every day's looking up. And hopefully you feel the same way with the conversations we're having. Appreciate you a lot. Thank you for listening. If you're on Fringe FM, stay tuned for Joe Roop Lighting the Void. If you're listening on BeLive, Facebook, or YouTube, stay tuned for the third hour of Troubled Minds. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thanks for listening, guys. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. All right, guys, you know the drill. We're going to take a couple-minute break here. We're off of the Fringe, so it's time to kind of let the hair down, let the F-bombs fly. If you care to do that, we're still taking your phone calls. We're still talking about this stuff, reincarnation, the Council of Elders. Do you believe in any of this, or do you think this is comic book type stuff that should stay in the comics? We're open to all of it. We want to know what you think, and you know what to do. Give us a call at 702-957-1037. You can be part of the show that way. Click the Discord link. TroubledMinds.org is the official website. But right now, 2-minute break. Grab some popcorn, put the kids to bed, top off your drink, hit the restroom, do what you got to do. We're going to be back for one more hour of Troubled Minds. Couple-minute break here just to make sure we break things up and give you a chance to do what you got to do. Don't go anywhere, though. We'll be right back with more Reincarnation, the Council of Elders, with Mike and Ash. Be right back. You know what that sound means? It means welcome back to Troubled Minds, and we're kicking it, doing our thing. I got a question. I'm going to pose this to the folks out there, the wisdom of the crowd. I'm going to ask this. So I just took my vitamin D, my vitamin C. Is it counterintuitive, or does it cancel it out somehow if I take those supplements with a beer? Is that somehow bad? Mrs. Strange tells me yes, but I haven't seen the science to suggest that. So anyway, we're still talking about, just making it funny. We're still talking about reincarnation. And do you believe this stuff? I think that's really the question here is, we had a couple great calls, but we're still looking to hear from you. Usually we get many, many more calls than that. Are you guys shy about this, or what's up? Not compelled by the information, or I don't know. What's going on? What's going on with you guys? I think that's the deal here. We've got some chat. I'm going to say hi to the chat. Robert says, even our bodies aren't real. We only imagine them. There you go. That's a great comment. Larry says, I am the truth, the life, and the way. No one comes to the Father but by me. That's John 14:6, and that's good stuff there. Appreciate that. And Larry, always good stuff. Who else do we got? What's up, Tamron from South Africa. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for waking up early to come spend some time with us. We appreciate it. Tamron says, the soul is different from the spirit. The body communicates with the soul, and the soul communicates with the spirit. All right, so different levels of kind of a hierarchy, way to put it, I guess. What's up? We got Paula. Let's see. Sherry says, our farm is called Enlightenment Farms. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'm afraid to ask. Is that a real thing, or is that where we live? is that Earth? Paula says, religion doesn't work because it is a separating force. The faith of religion is the commitment that each of us must make to bind in the collective love, but that is not religion. Well, yeah, I think the problem, right? And one of probably not just my beef with organized religion is that it seems to be based around dollars, more dollars than cents, and I say cents in SENSE, but I just don't understand that we can we or can we not be religious by ourselves without a collective like that. And I think it's a fascinating thing to think about and conversation to have. I mean, I know people have been pressured. The closer you get to your church, some churches, not all are terrible, but I've had people close to me that got really, really into their church and volunteered and this and that. And they were just always, being asked more, like, give us more money, give us more time, give us more this, give us more that. And I don't know. It's, like that's unfortunate. It's like you don't need to exploit people there. It's just not good. So anyway, I know there's, I'm probably preaching to the choir and probably horrified some people just kind of bringing that up. But I don't know. It kind of is what it is, right? It's my what's up, Fred says it's all good. All right, so I can take my vitamin C and my vitamin D with a beer, and you're okay with that? Everybody's okay with that? What's up, Mutt says, maybe there is just one creator. Every religious belief has evolved through repeated recycling and regeneration. Then it could be. Sherry says that's a real farm with vegetarian and meat sold to the public. Okay, all right. It sounds very very not good. Very less good than that. All right, I don't know when. I think Ash has stepped away for a sec, but we do have a phone call here. So Ash, you there, buddy?
I'm here.
Nice.
I'm here.
Nice. Welcome back to the show, man. Welcome back. How's the weather on Mars? How are we looking tonight?
It's a good hot ass day, like always. It's daytime up here. It's hot as balls. It sucks, and I hate it here, and I want to come to Earth and conquer it.
Okay, all right. I think Elon's working to get you a shuttle. Maybe you can get a free pass as the first guinea pig to come back to Earth. I'm sure they're working on that. But okay, we got a phone call. But anything to add before we take the phone call here? Anything to kind of kick in as part of the discussion, the Council of Elders, reincarnation, and kind of maybe lead us to where we're going tonight? Because we got a whole nother hour here to get to.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm surprised by the chat a lot. I think religions, everything, you kind of everything's a buffet, right? You take some of this and you're like, no to that. And I think that a lot of people are kind of in the chat, they're vibing with some of these things. It resonates. And I think at the end of the day, either we live in a material world where it's like a placebo, right? This stuff is just placebo, supposedly. And it doesn't matter what you do here. And, it's kind of a shitty way it's kind of soul. It's for lack of a better word, soul crushing, right? To not have a soul, to not believe that there's more. And so when you believe that there's more, there's just kind of innate truths that kind of resonate with, I think, everyone. And these things get corrupted by man and by this material world. But at the end of the day, we kind of get it. Be good to each other and try to make this place as less shitty. That if you were acting upon yourself, how would you want to be treated? And it's just some basic stuff. It really is basic. Like, the world may be some complex God server with layers and alien. It might be super complex, but I think spirituality is sort of a simplification, right? It's simple. It's just be good, grow, learn, be good to each other. And at the end of the day, you may not know exactly what the correct answer was in the math test, but right, it's like the South Park jokes. It's like all these people show up. This is like a funny South Park scene. All these people are in hell, and they're like, "What? Well, how do we end up here? We've been Christians all our life." And they're like, "Sorry, the correct answer was Mormon." Oh, and then they're like, "Oh, sorry, you should have been a Mormon." Okay, everyone into the fires of hell. Like it's just like unreasonable, right? So yeah, it's cool. It's an interesting topic. It's the topic, and it's fun to talk about. And I think it connects with a lot of people.
Yeah, a couple quick comments I'm going to read, then we'll go to this phone call. Thanks for hanging on for just a sec. We got Matt from Oregon on the line, but here we go. David says this in Facebook. He says, on YouTube. He says, "I heard that the cells in the body hold genetic memories of your ancestors, which can produce a memory of a past life. Even has apparently been proven to send trauma down the genetic line." And then Penny from the UK says, everybody follow the Curious Bunny on YouTube, by the way, please do. She says, "I believe we are all interdimensional beings experiencing this physical world in our meat suit. Then when this suit expires, our consciousness leaves and re-enters another meat suit." And sounds like we're preaching to the choir. That's a fantastic take there from both of you guys. So let's get to this phone call. This is Matt from Oregon. You are on Trouble Minds with Mike and Ash. How are you, my friend?
How's it going, Mike? Good for the night. I want to talk about reincarnation.
Yeah, go ahead. What do you think about it?
Okay, well, as always, these are my beliefs, my my theories and things. Always do your research and think for yourself. So, I don't have a PhD in this or anything.
Hey, man, you do.
Okay,
wait, you've got a PhD in thinking for yourself. So I just bestowed the PhD upon you. So go right ahead. Okay,
so I've done a couple past life regressions. I've had some with no results, but I had one with in a group setting. I had one, and it's kind of like a dream. It's like fleeting. Tried to remember it, but it was like, okay, I was in this past life. I was a female, and I remember I'm sitting against a tree reading a book, and that's totally like the nerd stuff I do now. And then it was like fast forward. It was like how you're talking about life flash before your eyes. And so it was like fast. And then like I don't remember how I died, but I remember that like I died, and then like all of a sudden like boom, I was like shot into my own body. So that's kind of weird. That's my personal experiences. But I actually called. I want to read a couple of things from the book, if I can. That's fine.
Yeah, totally. Go ahead. So
I'm not gonna say the book is my religion, but so we were talking earlier about this. I'm just gonna read it. Okay, so the patriarchal church, when codifying in the Bible, struck out books and passages containing such information. Though some survived. We're talking about the books in the Bible, how they kind of took some stuff out. So I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna try to read it slowly. It says, "Because it was toward John that all prophecies of the prophet and of the law were leading, and he, if you believe me, is Elijah who was to return. If anyone has ears to hear, let them listen." And then it says Matthew 11, 14, 15. The codes, okay? And then it says, modern scholars speculate that this passage of the New Testament is one of the few obscure references left in the Bible regarding reincarnation, implying that John was Elijah in a past life.
Okay.
Anything to say?
Okay. So let me ask you. So this is just from like the generic Bible, or is this from something different?
No, this is from like the stuff I study, which my religion kind of books. In witchcraft, we totally believe in reincarnation.
Okay, wait. So what's the text?
Like I said,
can you tell us what the text is then? I'm only asking because when I say generic, I mean more like vanilla, like the King James or something like that. Is it from the Bible or from something else entirely?
Well, that quote, I guess, like I said, that quote was from one of the Bibles that I guess they took. They cut certain things out. But the book that I'm reading is a witchcraft book. It's The Inner Temple of Witchcraft by Christopher Penzak.
Okay.
So if you're into that stuff, but if you're not, it's fine. One thing that I wanted to say, how I said like this is my beliefs and stuff. The thing about this topic that's really interesting is like no one really knows. Like you won't know until you take your last breath and die. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean I think that's what we're looking at, and that's why it's so fascinating, right? And we have people that have had near-death experiences, people that say they've left their body and come back, and the light, and somebody mentioned in the chat actually while we were doing this on the fringe Discord actually mentioned the archons, and this entire thing was a trap to get you to go into the light, and you shouldn't. So I don't know, like it depends on who you ask, right? And some people say, go into the light, and then there's do you remember that movie from the early '80s, the Poltergeist, where it's like, Carol Ann, stay away from the light. Remember that? Like, who knows, man? Like, who knows? Like these are the types of things we get when you listen to people, their anecdotal experiences of near death or other things, right? People that claim to have believe in the past lives and all this. So do you believe that reincarnation is real then?
Yes. Like I said, everyone, believe what you want. You won't know until you die. But the kind of weird thing is just like with aliens, like if you don't believe in aliens or there's other life out there. But if you just my opinion, sorry, I'm not calling anyone out, but if you just believe that you're here and then you die, and then nothing, it's kind of boring.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I mean, you're allowed to tell us what you believe. It's okay. Yeah. It's part of being here. It's part of having a conversation. Yeah. I realize and understand that, like in this hyper polarized world, you have to try and like walk on eggshells and preface everything with, "Well, I'm just not trying to step on anybody's toes." Nah, fuck it. Just tell us what you believe, man. It's all good. It's all good.
I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers or anything with the Bible quotes or anything like that. But yeah, this is what I believe. Okay. I have another quote I want to read to kind of tie up. So the way they explain reincarnation, it says, the energy of the soul is like a lake. When we take a body, it's like pouring some water into a glass. And for the moment, it is separate and distinct. At death, it is poured back into the lake, back into unity, and it is no longer separate. The system accounts for reports of several individuals who are famous figures in history. People joke that one thinks they were Cleopatra. So that's a joke. Everyone is Cleopatra. It's kind of like if we are souls in the lake, a little bit of Cleopatra's energy could end up in many different people, connecting each other to life experiences of Cleopatra.
I like it, man, and it's true, right? So everybody's actually part of everything else. Making the joke that everybody has some portion of the consciousness of Cleopatra is that at some point it's commingled, right? It's poured back into the lake from the glass, and then when it's put back in the glass, it is part of the collective consciousness. I like it, man. I like it. It seems clean. It seems. Sorry. Go ahead.
Just like ideas given you guys to kind of help you, maybe understand it a little better.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That's why we do it in this format, because we want to hear from you. With the rest of this stuff, so what do you think about this Council of Elders? Do you think this stuff is real, or do you think it's just kind of an unnecessary U-turn that's kind of thrown in as part of this story?
I believe it. What I believe is, I was talking about earlier, and I'll post some things to the Discord later. This book is called The Celestine Prophecies. The author's name is James Redfield. It's an interesting book. It's a not real book. It's like a story. But in that book, he talks about how they say, so like we're incarnated on this earth in these bodies, and then your guardian angels, I guess, that are in heaven, wherever, looking down on us, helping us, like moving stuff around so that we're going the right direction. And then when you die, you go, you're a soul, and then you can like switch. Like you will stay in heaven and be a guardian angel for another person in your soul group that will come to Earth and reincarnate in a body, and then you're kind of like their guardian angel. And we're all like connected, like a bunch of people, like even us, like we could have been reincarnated together somehow, like in like a family maybe of different, like, how I said, like I was a female in a past life, other people could have been connected that way. And we're all kind of connected, like in a spiritual level. And then we have it's called like a soul group. And we're all kind of in a circle of, some people are here on Earth doing the thing, and some people are in heaven, kind of, they say on Earth as it is in heaven. So they kind of like pulling stuff around to make us meet and make us connect and, grow consciously.
Interesting. As above, so below. So are you saying it's possible? Are you saying it's possible that this show is actually reconstructing a soul family from the days of old?
Yeah, you don't know. Like we all kind of like how people were talking in chat about like you meet someone and you're like, you feel like maybe they're an old soul or feel like you might have met them before. How do you say, not star-crossed lovers, but like soulmates. Like you meet someone and you're like, maybe you met them in a past life, but it was a different situation, like, brother, sister. And then in this life, you met again and reincarnated in our bodies. That it's like your lovers or however. Yeah, it's like a soul group. If that makes sense, like a family.
Interesting. And so it's a family for eternity in some way, somehow. They're kind of recollected to each other in these additional lifetimes. I like it, man. I like it. I've heard this. Yeah. I've heard people saying that. Go ahead.
The wizard thing, the wizards, like a, how do you say? It was like a group of people that like a council. So you come to them after you die. You get you see your past life, you see your life like flash before your eyes and like review your life. And then I guess you and them like decide, do you want to go back to a body and try again? You messed up somewhere. You went left, you should have went right. So, that, or do you want to stay and do you want to be in heaven looking over someone, like the next person that reincarnates to Earth? So I kind of believe that like a council in a way that reviews your past life with you. They say your life flashes before your eyes when you die. So kind of like I said, like in my past life regression, like I died and it was like fast forward really fast and it like shot me back into my body now, where I am now. So it's kind of like a review, I guess. Your life flashed before your eyes. They're showing you the things like you did wrong. You're like, oh, you did that wrong. You sat on the couch eating cheeseburgers, but you should have went, jogging or whatever, and you died from a heart attack.
Yeah, man. I love some cheeseburgers, by the way. Just going to throw that in there.
Yeah. It kind of shows you, go ahead.
No. So let me ask you too. I did notice you seem a lot less nervous calling in these days. Are you kind of getting used to this? I kind of like it, man.
Yes, I'm working on my radio voice.
Nice. It is one of those things, right? It just like the first time you're just like, oh God, stage fright, I'm up. Oh shit, and then eventually you're like, oh, we're just having a conversation with friends. There could be 1,000 people listening, but
I'm nervous. But like I said, the first couple of times I call, I'm nervous, and now I'm kind of figuring out. I'm talking to you, Mike, but I'm talking to everyone out there. So yeah, just always study and research and learn and question and believe what you want to believe. Don't let me or anyone tell you what to believe.
Amen to that, my friend. Thank you so much. Again, this is Matt from Oregon. Good stuff in the chat, good stuff on the calls, man. I appreciate you listening, appreciate you calling. Have a great night, okay?
All right, man. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, you too. There we go. Good stuff. This is what I'm talking about, right? You open up a forum like this to a bunch of smart people, and look at all these amazing takes you get. Fantastic stuff. Thank you for the great calls tonight. But put it on to the rest of you guys. What do you think? What do you think out there is regarding this reincarnation stuff? Do you think it's real, or do you think it's again like a fabrication of sorts? I think that's really the question and what we're doing tonight. Still talking about this. I know Ash had to step out for a sec, had important things to do. You back there, buddy?
Yeah. I just had to take care of something real quick. But yeah, I saw one of the Doom bots circulating. Had to move my cave recently. It's pretty gnarly up here. But yeah, there's some really good comments. That was a great call. I really like the whole, you kind of you're a glass of water, and then you kind of rejoin the pond, and there's this idea that we're all one consciousness, and that we kind of go back and resonate, and we're kind of building into our own wisdom, and maybe that thing where we're all the same being at one point, where we all live a trillion lives, right? And then you would imagine how wise that being would be. So there's some awesome, great comments in here. Robert says the truth of reincarnation has been suppressed by the ruling class ever since 325 AD, Council of Nicaea. If the reality of survival of the soul and reincarnation was proven, millions of people living miserable lives with suicide, knowing they would still exist. I mean, you could say, well, I ain't liking this. Boom, check out. And maybe that's part of the thing that you're not supposed to know, so that you actually live your life, right? And you actually give it a go. Tam, we love Tam. She's a big fan of the show. I did a past life regression therapy for fun because I did not believe in it at all. So it turns out she was a healer in Atlantis and used crystals in a temple to heal people who were hovered over on anti-gravity beds. Well, it's a long story. And the thing was embedded like in her mind and her soul's eye, and it was pretty gnarly for her. And like she said, she didn't really believe in any of that stuff, and then when she had the regression, this all kind of came out. So a lot of stories, a lot of people in the comments saying, yes, this has happened to us. Other people saying, they think we're sort of in end times, and maybe there's a collection of souls coming on, and so we are divine, says Timothy. I love that one. If the genie was let out of the bottle, that's a good comment. So good stuff. Please guys, call in. We got time for you. We'd love to hear your stories. So what were we talking about? We're talking about spirit wizards, reincarnation, right? The Council of Elders.
Yes, the Council of Elders.
A cycle. There's basically a cycle. You're here to learn and grow. You go back to you die, you go back to soul realm, you hang out with some of your homies, and then you work with peers and elders, and then you come back and we're here to learn stuff. This is the idea. What were those guys' names? I am terrible with names, horrible with names. Do you remember the two guys' names? The people who've studied this.
Yeah, so the original guy was Dr. Ian Stevenson. He's the guy that did the reincarnation research, and he's where you get the stories of children that remembered their past lives and then have either birth defects or say birthmarks or notable things in their current physiology that kind of matches the trauma they had in a past life. So that's Dr. Ian Stevenson. Check him out. Over 3,000 compelling cases that he was convinced that at least trying to make the case that reincarnation is real. The other individual, Dr. Michael Newton, is the guy that is put forth this idea about the Council of Elders. And that so he actually did a whole bunch of hypnotherapy regression type stuff, and he didn't make this up. He actually, very much like you said earlier, Ash, like Dr. David Jacobs, through these regression therapy things, he started to get these similar stories of people encountering these entities. And in Dr. David Jacobs' case, he's the guy with alien abduction, and so he started putting together his narrative based on the things he was told through regressions and people that have been abducted with aliens and this type of thing. This other individual, Dr. Michael Newton, same thing, except he actually started to come to the idea of these individuals, the Council of Elders, being a thing by, same thing, hypnotherapy regressions, where people described meeting with this council. So interesting stuff. Like I said, again, Dr. Ian Stevenson and Dr. Michael Newton. As you guys know, you don't have to remember it because we will have all the links, and right after the show. They'll all be on the YouTube and everywhere else, so you can find them super easy. I'm just pasting them into Facebook as well, so you can find all the stuff right there through Facebook or YouTube or anywhere else. So don't worry about remembering that stuff, but that's where we got the information from, just so you guys know. So we have a little bit more to play from this video. Want to finish this video up from this guy regarding the council here from, what's his name? Open Your Reality, the YouTube guy.
Yeah, is there more? Let's do it.
Yeah, we got a little bit more. So let's listen to this guy again. I'm going to link this, and you guys can watch this on your own time and see that again. We're not making this stuff up. We're not doing our thing and trying to fool you and make you believe in any of these things. There's no agenda here other than I guess our agenda, according to Matt there, I kind of twisted his arm to make him say it, is we're trying to get our soul family back together, and I guess troubled minds might be a medium to do that. So I guess let's wink wink honor ourselves in that regard. So. I'm making fun of myself, but here we go. Let's go to.
I miss you guys. Come back to me, okay?
Exactly.
Come back. I know I'm weird, okay, but it's okay. It's like we used to have such good times, 1,000 years ago, and I just miss you guys. So. It's not you, it's me. It's me. I'll be the first to say I'm sorry.
Quite obviously, that's why you were banished to Mars. All right, here we go. We got this is from this is the Council of Elders from an individual that has a YouTube channel called Open Your Reality. Here we go. We heard a little bit of it. Let's hear a minute or two more.
The first things that happens is, which seems like maybe just hours after the incarnation has finished, is the soul is ushered in to see the Council of Elders. And they're usually taken through a long corridor, into a bigger hallway, and then into a domed room that has light, like I said, the purple light coming from above emanating down. And you have this Council of Elders. And there's usually a crescent-shaped table, and it's on a raised dais. This is what most of Dr. Newton's subjects report. And the council is seated with a director, the most important person, the one who usually communicates with the soul, sitting right in front. And the spirit guide will typically stand to the back and to the left of the soul. Now, the council is not there to judge us, to punish us, to rebuke us. Their main purpose is to question us so that we can learn from our past incarnation or incarnations, because they know all of them, stemming all the way back to the beginning. And you cannot hide any thoughts from the council. They basically know all. It's telepathic. So it's not like you can hide what you did. They know all your actions. They know all your past. But again, they're not there to judge. Believe me.
Okay, so let's kill it there. And again, probably 2.5 minutes left of this video, so we'll play the rest of this as we continue. But good stuff, right? I mean, so he's saying the council is there to guide you. It's not there to in any sort of judgment, like in the gloom and doom religious fire and brimstone way. The council is actually there to help spirits who have passed on and are looking to better themselves in the long spiritual game. Let's say over several hundreds, dozens, thousands, I don't know, of lifetimes. And they're there as part of it. It almost seems like a celestial court of sorts. Weird. What'd you call spirit wizards? I think that was the term. Spirit wizards.
Yeah, and apparently you can't hide anything from them. Shit, they're gonna know my search history.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I'm gonna be screwed. They're gonna be like, "Well, we don't normally judge people, but god damn,
holy,
gotta
shit.
talk."
That guy, exactly. Yeah. So
can you imagine them putting it on a big screen? They're like, you're like, fuck.
They're like, what was going on that day? What happened that day that was so bad that you had to do that? Come on.
Midgets, really? Like, there's so many adjectives here. This is. We didn't even know this could exist in your world. Oh God! And it's like, oh, yep. Keep going. It gets worse.
You're like, hey, dude, there's an app for everything. There's an app for everything now. But yeah, so all joking aside, but like they say all of this. That he's saying that there's some sort of regurgitation effect. So what did you think when you heard about the Council of Elders and all this? I know, like I said, I kind of like snapped to and was like, oh shit! Now we're talking about reincarnation. Now we're in good shape, right? Now this kind of puts it together so we can kind of take the next step into the world of woo. But what did you think when you first saw this Council of Elders? Were you kind of shocked a little bit, or something else entirely?
Well, when I heard Council of Elders, I just thought there was going to be this astral, ethereal entities that are of wisdom and stuff. But I didn't think there was going to be like literally table with like some bearded dudes sitting at it. Like, I just thought that was pretty incredible. Yeah, for my episode, I'll do a little bit of research of I'd like to know how many different people talk about this. You know, he's mentioned he had 3,000, 2,500 different regressions he's done and gathered data. This kind of theme, how often was this specific theme, right? How many times did people talk about the bearded wizards, right? I'll dive in. I'm definitely going to do a show on this. This would be pretty cool. This would be pretty fun. I think it's interesting. I think it's really fascinating. And honestly, it just it sounds good too, right? I wouldn't mind like having a little judge of wizards and have someone older to give you wisdom. Here's the thing. Okay, this is not exactly on topic, but it is kind of. I don't know about you guys, but as I get older, you know, when you're a kid, you have your parents and other older people you can kind of ask things. And as you get older, you kind of get the sense of like, oh shit, you start realizing fucking nobody knows what they're doing. And it's kind of a scary thought, right? It's like a scary thought. Like people don't really know, and that our world is so fragile and everyone's learning, which is great, but it's like, oh, kind of scary too. So to have this like these elders, these people to learn from, you know, in another dimension with infinite spiritual wisdom of many lives, it sounds good. Sign me up. You know, if you need me to go under a mountain and get naked and do some weird stuff to join, maybe I will join. It sounds good. I'm telling you, it sounds good.
I sent you the brand in the mail. Let me know when you get it. I'll tell you where to burn yourself.
I got you. It's like a little kit, right?
Yeah,
it's like a little camera, thumb drive. I got to mail the thumb drive in when I'm done. I got you.
Exactly.
Got you.
All right. So as always, guys, looking to hear from you. We had a few great calls tonight, but now it's your turn. What do you think about this reincarnation bit? And how, on top of that, first, is reincarnation real? And then second, the other question tonight is, what do you think about this Council of Elders, which actually has some sort of a connotation of like a long-term soul coach, I guess you could say, and not just for this lifetime, for many lifetimes. It's Sherry said I didn't need that pick in my mind. Sorry. Dark humor, you guys.
Sherry, we're in the third hour. It's getting weird, okay? You know what you're getting yourself into. It gets weird in the third hour.
Yeah, definitely.
The drinks start kicking in. The censorship comes off. We just start going nuts, So anyway.
Going nuts. but what do you guys think? Again, back to you. If you've never called in before, this is your time. 702-957-1037. Phone number's up. Join the Discord at troubleminds.org is the official website. You can find the phone number on the Discord link. So what do you think about reincarnation? Is it real? We've had, again, back to the guy, Dr. Ian Stevenson, that has done a lot of work, over 3,000 compelling cases in his opinion, been doing work on this since 1957, and he passed away in the early 2000s. But he said that reincarnation is real, and he had some evidence of that. For instance, David on YouTube says this. Let's see. I have birthmarks on back of my head, large ones, and one on my ankle, the same size and diameter of a bullet. And maybe, right? Like maybe you should go do one of those past life regressions. Maybe it was like a World War II situation, or you know what I mean? Who knows? Like that. This is the type of stuff that they say kind of correlates to past lives. Is that our bodies remember it somehow through our soul. And crazy stuff. But what do you guys think? Again, 702-957-1037. Join the Discord, troubleminds.org. We got a little bit more of this video to play. We got some other information to get to. We can read some of these stories about the actual reincarnation type stuff. But where do you want to take it if we don't get any calls? We got about 22 minutes left, guys. So plenty of time for you if you want to be part of this. If I figured Kelly would call tonight. Maybe he's busy. That's okay. He's allowed to take a night off once in a while. But let me throw out.
No, you're fucking not, Kelly.
No.
Where are you?
Where are you?
Get back. Get on here. How dare you?
Well,
enjoy your life.
Right, exactly. The reason I bring him up though is because he kind of had a good idea when we were talking about the Higgs field. And he said that so the Higgs field, the Higgs boson, is something that allows you that turns energy into mass. Once energy passes through the Higgs field, it becomes mass. And his idea was that, okay, look, if that's the case and it comes through one way, it could also go back the other way. And mass itself can go back through the Higgs field and become energy. And that's how he was describing souls passing on in the same instance, right? Through more of a scientific theory there. So I kind of wanted to, like I said, bring that up earlier, but if Kelly was going to call tonight, I was going to lay off of that for a sec. But I thought it fit with this pretty well, is that you get... the energy leaves the body and then it goes back into that Higgs field, which basically, like when Matt called, is kind of like the pond or the lake, where everything gets poured back in, commingled, and becomes part of the energy collective, and then at some point becomes reborn, right? Interesting thoughts. I don't know. I think it's good stuff. But anything else you want to add to this, Ash? Again, like I said, we got another probably 2-3 minutes of that video to play, which we should do because the guy kind of describes it better than us. But any maybe anecdotes or any little stories or anything you want to add to this before we in the last 20 minutes before we wrap this up?
Definitely, man. Hey, man, you know me. I could be talking about crazy shit from forever. I could filibuster the whole show. You can literally just leave now, and I'll just fill it with crazy stuff I've heard of. I spend more time than now I'm actually realizing maybe I have a problem. Just like looking at all this kind of stuff and watching videos. And, oh man, maybe I should go see the Council of Elders right now.
I was telling my brother, my brother, I was like, dude, the CIA has no idea what to think of my search history. Like all the crazy shit that I search. They think I'm batshit insane, but whatever, they can think what they want. But yeah. So
I know what you mean. So there's two. So that's pretty funny. There's actually, mine's. I have a smart TV. I threw my YouTube history up, and I had some friends over, and they were like, "They could see my YouTube," and I was like, "Yup." And they're like, "Holy crap!" And I was like, "Yeah, there's like boxing, aliens, TikTok chick. Then it's like a game, and then it's like the spirits realm, and like it's like lizard man." They're like, "What the hell am I looking at here?"
Mantis aliens.
Yeah, man, I haven't done those guys in a while, man. I kind of overdosed. But okay, so I do have I have two. I have left and right field on this. I could talk more about the remote viewers and their results about what happens to you when you die. So there's one way. And there's another thing I don't quite talk about enough. There used to be this account on Twitter, and it claimed to be a reincarnation or some sort of existence of one of the Majestic 12. So I think the Twitter account's name was Majestic. And people took all of their AMAs and all their quotes and they put them together in one document. And I was like, all right, I'm down for some, let me put my woo fucking raincoat on and dive into this bitch, right? And there was some stuff in there. So actually, let me talk about some of the things as far as soul stuff that this account mentioned. They mentioned that they were partly responsible for killing JFK. That was on purpose to kind of divert timelines. A lot of crazy shit. I'll find it. Let me find it for you guys, and I'll drop it. I think it's worth a read. And you guys, I mean, I'm out in left field reading this thing, and it's hard for me to navigate. It's so crazy. But he mentioned something. He calls it the ISB, which is IS-BE. So is meaning is like you are, and that's your soul. And BE is biological entity. So biological entity is popular because aliens be turned into biological entity because a lot of the aliens that they discovered were not really conscious, right? So this is, aliens call humans containers, a container, right? A container for what? For potentially a soul. And in this alien stuff, there's souls and all kinds of stuff. So what this account says, the ISBE, is that you are a soul wearing a meat suit. Like a couple people mentioned this previously when they're calling in, which was great, is that you are kind of wear this meat suit, this advanced thing that's kind of been engineered over time so you can have an experience. And that, yeah, your soul could be in multiple places at any given time, that there's like too many bodies and not enough soul to go around. And that you can, when you're dying, you could be incarnating into another and ramping up into some other body. that there's like all people. There was a lot. It was a lot to take in. It was a lot of stuff, and that you die, you reincarnate, and that this world is somewhat of a matrix, and that you're just kind of here to have an experience, and that different races of people are associated with different alien groups, and who can kind of reincarnate in the different groups, and that a lot of aliens come here to reincarnate and have human experiences so they can kind of get that soul training. I mean, it's just some crazy stuff I'm laying out here. So anyway, if you're interested in any of the thing I just said, you want to kind of look in more into it, it's Majestic 12 Twitter account. I think they got suspended by now. I put my money on it. But yeah, look up the Majestic 12 Twitter and look for some of the things that they said. It was pretty nuts, pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah, that's a whole bunch of that actual. So I actually waded into that Twitter mess a while back, and they jumped on me super fast. But that's a little to do with Project Looking Glass and a little bit of the 17th letter, right? That was kind of what that account was really into. So just FYI, if you're going to wade into that, be aware that that's. I'm pretty sure that's. I saw them talking about body bags and the sealed indictments and all this other stuff, and I was like, really, guys? 100,000 body bags, and really? And then they all jumped on me in Twitter. I think I've told that story several times before. But anyway, all right. So we got a couple calls. Let's go to. We're gonna go. I know you're there, Jay. We're gonna hold off. We're gonna go ladies first. We're gonna go Tam on Discord. Tam Bam, welcome to the show. You're on with Mike and Ash. How are you?
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to.
Hi. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing
good.
Good
Evening. How are you?
Doing good. Doing our thing. Talking about all this weird stuff like we always do. What do you believe about reincarnation? You think this is a real thing?
Oh. There's so many variations of everything. How can you not believe in it? Until someone etherically comes to you and said reincarnation is real, then you would definitely believe it's real. But it's all hearsay for now, unless you've had your own experience. So we can talk about it. It's like an alien coming to you and say hi. You believe in them, but you don't really believe until they come and say hi and give you a big beer.
Until you see it, you got to witness it with your own eyes, with your own body, with your own soul. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, to register as fact in your mind. But right now, it's really about belief, and it's about. I think the show is bringing together people that we know there's something there, and we know that we don't really fit on this planet, or we don't really fit spiritually, and nothing makes sense, and everything is upside down, and it's just a bizarre way to live, and we're trying to make sense of this world but also living in a spiritual world where we're trying to just connect the two, and it's hard to live like this.
Yeah, it's tough. It's like you know there's more, but it's like constant. It's like forever being thirsty, but never truly being quenched, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to share my story with you about the regression, if I may.
Go right ahead.
Excuse me. Okay, so I went to this lady who was actually a neighbor many years ago, and she was a regression therapist, and I obviously said, "Me crazy, you talking crap, it's rubbish." But she says, "Come in, let's have a session." So I went in, and it was sort of hypnosis, but I wasn't fully under. I can't explain it. It was quite bizarre. But what makes it so real for me is that this life, this image is in like Ash said earlier, it's embedded into my brain. Usually a memory that you relive is kind of a facts of the facts of the facts because you attach it to an emotion. But this life is still real to me. It's more real than many things. I can't remember what I did when I was like 2 or 3 years old, but I can remember what I did 100 million lifetimes ago. How bizarre is that? So, yeah.
Yeah, agreed. And so some of the memories are more real. You're right. than reality. And I think that's why people, like you said, kind of question the reality. It's in the DNA too. Like I always laugh when they say junk DNA, right? Like, oh well, we don't know what it is, so it must be trash. Oh really? you think that's what you think it is? Trash? Got it. I'm sure millions of years, and who knows how many lifetimes, kind of putting us on one path through all of that. It just must be garbage. You're totally right.
Yeah.
Junk DNA.
No, your junk DNA is garbage. How about that?
Exactly.
Mine's just fine. Thank you very much.
Excuse me. Sorry.
When people come to that, when people come to me with that kind of mentality, I try not to be mean because I just want to shake them right. But I put them in this ignorance is bliss bubble, and I just let them be. Because clearly they're happy and clearly they're opinionated about their reality. So my reality is not their reality. They're not experiencing the same thing. So how can I be opinionated? So I just put them there. Anyway, so I'm obviously, like I said earlier, I'm a healer. But if you picture me in that Atlantean world, Aladdin the movie, the cartoon. So Princess Jasmine, it was those kind of clothes I was wearing. So, and it's a lot of gold as well, and it's sheer cloth. Yeah, and it was beautiful. So I'm in this temple, and ironically, this temple is a pyramid. Okay, and inside this pyramid, it's kind of hollowed out, but it's made with this white kind of stone, but if you touch it, it's a bit sandy kind of. I can't explain it. And I would be around a round table along with other healers, and on this table had different tiers of different crystals, but the table of tiers had a light emanating, like an LED light emanating from the bottom, so you can see each crystal in their pure form. And as a healer, I would instinctively know which crystal would do what. So I clearly remember a patient, a sick person, coming on a metal hovering, like a coroner's slab, those silver slabs, but it was obviously cushioned. With my patient coming to me, and I would turn this disc, this tier, like let's call it a cake tier, turn this cake tier around to find the most specific crystal for this ailment this person had. And at that time, this person had something wrong with its liver, or their liver. And I would take this certain crystal and place it on their liver, and I would be a connection with the crystal to the person, and some kind of healing would take place, right? And then I'd go off to a healing room. But this was not something... It wasn't like a gift I was given. This was my job. So everyone had a job in Atlantis, but this was my job. So I feel as if you were assigned to your job, but you also had to, air quotes, study it. So everyone had this potential, but you chose to be a healer, or you chose to do this. So anyway, I remember once that was done, I was stepping out of the pyramid, the temple, and I was walking down a cobblestone road, beautiful, and everything was just absolutely bright and beautiful. If I can picture the imagery, it would be like Hawaii, the imagery, colors, and the beauty of it. But everyone was walking down this cobblestone, and everyone that I could see walking along this cobblestone, along the pavement, had a spirit with them. Now, I don't know if it was a spirit or an angel, but they would be talking as like having conversations with these spirits or angels. And I was walking down to the shore to get something. I don't know what I was doing. And in the background, I could see another mountain, because the ocean and there was another mountain. And that's pretty much the gist of what I can remember. But it's embedded into me that I actually want to draw it. I want to paint it. And then I had another life regression, which I don't really want to talk about. It's quite scary. I was an assassin.
Oh man, that sounds exciting. You don't want to talk about that?
Okay. I'll give you a brief overview. Okay, that one I know. The assassin one, I was a man. very
you can't
tall.
you can't tease us with assassin and be like, nah, I'm not gonna talk about that one.
Okay. I was very tall, very, very skinny man, so very odd looking. And I only wore black, but I had this big, those massive collar that would cover my neck and up to my ears. And I had black hair that always was draping over my face. And I was an assassin, but I had bows and arrows, and that's how I killed these people. And I know with that one, I died by an arrow in my neck. And I was actually thinking about it quite a while ago. I have a birthmark on my neck, which is in the shape of a heart. And I can send you pictures. And it just kind of correlates, being shot with an arrow in my neck and my previous life and having a birthmark on my neck in the shape of a heart. It was just the coincidence of it. I don't know if I'm making up woo-woo out of it, but I found the connection there. But yeah, that was the two ones that I did. And then I just, it's too real. I can't explain. It's too real for me to do it again.
Yeah, that's exactly what that Dr. Ian Stevenson guy said, that he had searched out and found 3,000 plus compelling cases where there were exactly like you described, and many times he talked to children, and so they kind of described what happened to them, and then they were able to kind of trace it back to a particular instance. Not all of them, of course, but in some cases they were, and actually point out the past life that they lived. I mean, crazy stuff. And so it doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility here that birthmark is exactly what you're describing. Crazy stuff, Tam. We got Jay right behind you. So unless you want to hang on and just do a foursome as we get out of here, or you want to, it's up to you. I'll let you stay or let you go.
Don't have to make it weird, but I'll stay for the foursome.
Okay, so there you go. So I had to.
All right.
I had to drop it just to make it weird, because you know me, it's the third hour. So here we go. Let's go with it. All right. So we're here with I'm Mike. This we got Tam from South Africa. We got Ash from Mars, and we got Jay from New York. Jay, you're on Troubled Minds with Tam, Mike, and Ash. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, foursome. Beautiful. I'm sorry. I'm trying to turn the volume down on the iPad.
You're good, man.
Great. This is fantastic. I mean, the one thing that Satayama, it's a Japanese term for like one with the earth.
Okay, he should be back.
Oops. Sorry, that was my mistake. I'm sorry. That was Discord.
Go ahead.
My bad. Yeah, go ahead.
One with the earth, Jay. Go ahead.
I really think that, the reincarnation and there's old souls. Like, I tended bar for over 20 years, and people would come in and they would talk to you, and like, this guy's been around for a really long time. It's odd that we know things that, why do you know that? Why are you curious about that? Why do you look into those things? Why aren't you just watching television and playing with your telephone?
Yeah, video games. It's like it's that the idea of the old soul, right? It comes from somewhere. It's you could kind of describe it away as temperament and demeanor, and things like this. People being more passive or more aggressive, or these things. But I don't know. I think, like you said, it's a little bit deeper than that. It's people. Some people just really seem to have been around, and it's undescribable sometimes. And so, yeah, I get you. So do you think this is real? Do you think the whole deal with the reincarnation and this council of elders is real, or do you think a bunch of this is woo-woo?
The last time I talked to somebody seriously about it, 20 years ago, who was kind of a Buddha kind of guy, he said that you're not going to come back as a person, you're going to come back as an ant. Or, the ant eater. What are you going to be? You have to be something else before you're allowed to be a human again. That was this whole, if you're a bad person, you're going to come back as something bad, you know? You know, Christ's sakes, what would Hitler be, you know?
Oh, jeez. That's a hell of a question.
Well, I mean...
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you know, what are you going to get? What's your... I mean, do you have regrets? I mean, did you make really bad decisions or really horrible decisions or unbelievably horrible decisions? You know? That defines on what you're going to come back in. And then it ties all the religions back together from, you know, the Great Spirit to Buddha to all of them. You know? Muslim, everybody.
Totally. So, Tim and Jay, you guys don't get to talk to each other. So go ahead, Tim, and respond to that.
Okay. Jay, as much as I think you're awesome, I don't want to accept that. I really don't want to accept that. I want to come back as an ant or an anteater. I can't do it. So there's just no way. How is that possible? I think I would die as a person now thinking that, oh shit, like, I'm going to be an ant and I'm going to be killed in like my first days of living by a child with a
magnifying glass.
Yeah, that's horrible.
But that's the whole point. So are you going to be the ant that lives the fullest life of the ant, which is, I don't know, ants don't live long, 30 days maybe?
Okay, this is something that I actually teach a lot of I talk about a lot, how to live your life in the most exciting way possible, and that is without regrets. Okay, we all have regrets, but if you think of regrets as, I made a mistake, and you know, like, how can I fix it? That's emotional maturity and getting past it. So you're failing forward, and because you get up, you learned a lesson, so you got experience of doing the thing properly the next time. So that is how you live a life without regret. So if you also want to take it a step further, is every decision that you have placed in front of you, you take the most exciting one. And what I mean by that is you take the choice that excites you the most. And if you do that with every choice that you have in your life, obviously some things you can't because you do work and you have to do a shitty job and whatever the case is. If you take the most exciting road, the choice that makes you feel the best, you will never live a life in regrets because it was a choice that you made at that moment that excited you, and it just leads you on this path of happiness.
Indeed. Really, I mean, 100% agree with you, Tim. It's that I'm a self-employed carpenter, and I look at people, and it's time to go home and read the kids the books. I'm sorry. That's what time it is. That's the most important thing to me, you know?
And that's your most exciting choice.
Exactly, is because, you know, my son is 5 and he's into that Beyblade thing. It's a top is what it is. And you battle and they pop apart and whatever. It's a little kid's game. But the thing is, though, is now he's looking into the physics, angular momentum, you know. It's like, wow, dude, yeah, but he's 5.
And?
So when he wants to sit and research that stuff, because I come home early from work, because I'm sorry, your project is not more important than my children. We sit there and we watch the physics shows on how a Beyblade works. It's a top. You know? It's just... But that's what's important, you know? Regret that you were saying earlier.
It really is. It really is. And I think a lot of parents, and I'm generalizing a lot here, but parents are kind of following society's rules and regulations, this kind of prison system. You go to school, you sit there for 8 hours, and you come home and you do your home, whatever the case is. We are humans living on this prison planet. And yes, we do have to follow rules and regulation laws and things like that. But I still believe in opening my child's mind. So my child is interested in, right now, mermaids. So YouTube to death about mermaids, and then he'll be on something else. And I always go where his mind is leading towards. And in that way, I'm expanding his mind and his neural network to thinking that there's more to life in this place. And who knows where that might lead.
Yeah, I was a Boy Scout leader forever. You know, a camp counselor for probably 12 years. And my philosophy was that my job is not to teach you data. My job is to teach you how to learn your own data, make your own observation. I'll give you the blocks, dude. How you stack them up, that's entirely up to you. Because
right, you leave that, you kind of open that door just ajar, and then it's up to them whether they open the door or close it.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what's great about your show, Mike. You know, and that people come and they talk and we have these chats and we get to have the 3-way or the 4-way at the end of the night. You know, we
all
get to talk
all the way from Mars. Yeah. And this is a little weird, right? So we got East Coasters, we got West Coasters, we got people in other countries talking about all kinds of stuff all over the world. It's amazing. I agree 100%. I hate to be the party pooper. We've been at this for 3 hours, so we got to wrap this up. So let's go. Final thought from Tam, and then final thought from Jay, and let's finish this sucker up.
Don't put me on the spot. I hate that.
Okay, we can go Jay first if you want.
Oh, damn it, my turn now. I just let's be nice. I mean, I saw in the chat a little bit earlier today when someone was calling. I didn't get a chance to listen. I was talking to my father, and someone was being mean. And I think that's the first time I've ever seen that here. Somebody called him out immediately. Let's be nice. Let's think about all these kind of things, you know? We can have a serious conversation about whatever it is. You know, the aliens, the UFOs, the reincarnation, Bigfoot, whatever. We can sit down, we can have an intelligent conversation and educate each other. You know?
Amen, brother. Amen, brother. That's what this is all about. Again, as always, we appreciate you listening, and thanks for calling and being part of this. Like I said, the more minds we get together, the more it makes the world go around, and it enriches the show, enriches other people. So thank you so much for that. Jay, good night, my man. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Good night.
Thank you. All right, let's go.
Good night.
Thank you. You're up, Tam. Now you're on the spot. You just delayed it.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Well, pretty much you're on your own journey. Do what you want to do. Live your most exciting life the way you want to live. It does not matter what anyone else thinks because their reality or view of you is not who you are. Even your own view or what you think is you is not really you because you really are living an etheric existence in a meat suit on a prison planet with a certain things to learn and for your spiritual well-being in your soul contract that was done before you were born. So you don't even know who you are and you're still learning. So nothing else matters besides your journey. So take everyone's opinion at face value, at a pinch of salt, because they're not seeing what you're seeing. And vice versa.
Yeah, that's why sharing is important. And people that aren't going to judge you and sell you down the river for thoughts that are thought crimes. Tam, you're the best. Yeah. Thanks again for waking up early for us. Thanks for being a part of this. Thanks for calling in tonight. Thanks for all the great information. We'll talk to you soon. Be well out there. And good luck with everything. We'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Okay. Bye, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good night. Good morning.
Tam.
There you go. All right, let's finish this up, Ash. Let's do it, buddy. Let's do it.
Oh yeah, let's do it. So great calls, good conversation. You know, we're all on our journey, trying to figure it out, right? And you should respect everyone else on their journey. And if all this soul stuff is real, if this is the real deal, then you know we're all souls trying to grow and learn. And And other people are doing the same. So, we can learn from each other. And that's what's great about Troubled Minds Radio. Here, we can talk to each other. We can have these conversations. We can go back and forth. Doesn't have to be red versus blue. We don't have to kill each other here yet. Just until when I invade.
Yet.
Then.
Yet.
There can only be so many of you left. But until then, love your neighbor. Love your wife. Love your friends. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Ash. I'm the Reptilian from Mars. Please tune into my YouTube channel. It's always a pleasure to be here. I'm glad we got to talk about spirit wizards. I love it when we talk about the crazy shows. This was a good one. Great calls, good information, good company. I feel like I'm selling beer or something. Buy
Troubled Minds beer. It's good for you. Take your vitamins with it.
Yeah, you heard Mike opening it earlier. Should come out with a brand of beer. That'd be great. That'd be fun.
That would be amazing.
But
with the alien.
Yeah, thanks again for having me on. Yeah. Oh yeah, you can put my face, my reptilian face, on the side. That'd be cool. Little Mars rover. It'd be nice.
Oh yeah.
But great to be here. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. Respect everyone here, and have a good night, and I'll see you next Wednesday.
Peace. Everybody follow Ash the Reptilian from Mars on YouTube. He's doing some good work over there. He's going to put some shows together that are kind of in line with what we talked about. Robert says, one last note, we were all incarnated. Our purpose is to create for the entertainment of an infinite celestial audience. Dance. Dance. Dance, Michael Strange, dance. Oh, jeez. Alien Screech time? Or no? I'm not going to make you dance. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. As you know, this is Troubled Minds. We'll be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pacific. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays when we get together and do it. We have thousands of people listening. We have 35 reviews on iTunes. It does not compute. Get us out. Get us up on iTunes. Let people know they should be listening to this. Spread the word. Tell a friend. And again, thank you for being here. Thanks for being part of this. Thanks, Ash, for taking your time out on Wednesday nights to be part of this show. Everybody else, thanks for spending your time with us. It does mean a lot. Again, I'm Mike. This has been Ash. This is Troubled Minds. I'm me, you're you, but together we're us. And us is very much more powerful. Thanks again, guys. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thanks for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night.